And we're back. Welcome back to Pixels and Pints on this lovely Thursday evening. With me, as always, is Pete.
Howdy.
And Dan.
Hello.
And tonight we're going to talk about a whole bunch of movies. The boys are probably going to yell a whole lot about recent recastings in one of our favorite TV shows. We're going to be as cryptic as possible talking about our brand new favorite game ever. And we're going to review some underrated 90s action films, which upon rewatch, well, fuck me. And that's what we're going to do tonight.
At least one of the three choices, I think, was probably deservingly underrated.
Yeah. One put me to sleep, but yeah, we'll get into that later. We're also going to drink. Two of us are going to drink. Unfortunately, Peter is unable to drink tonight because of personal life choices. I don't mean that. The doctor told him not to. Doctor's orders.
Doctor's orders.
Not the beer, unfortunately.
Drugs.
Come, bring it back, Doc.
It's a nasty infection. I'm sure the rash will clear up soon, but in the meantime, no alcohol plus antibiotics.
So he's going to drink 10 coffees for every one beer we have.
Yeah, bouncing off the walls by the end of the night.
But yes, Dan and I are going to drink. I've cracked a beer. Dan?
I've finished my warm-up one, so I am going to crack one as well.
Well, I'll start things off with a beer. I am drinking for my opening the Deeds Counterclockwise Czech Dark Lager. It is
nice.
4.8%.
We had that at work the other day. I bought it, and we split it between the brewer team. And then I started to read the back of the can and was really annoyed at the description on the back of the can.
I haven't read the back of the can. That tastes really good.
Why were you annoyed, really Dan?
Wait till Tom reads it.
Do I have to read it out? I don't feel like reading it.
No,
I don't.
It says nothing about...
I'll read it out then.
Okay.
So the beer is called Counterclockwise. Move reading. Story time for all the children at home. You know the clock is ticking, but you can't hear it. All your energy is focused on the stethoscope on the door of the safe. You slowly turn the dial counterclockwise, and then you hear it. The faintest of thuds as the tumbler aligns. Click. Your hand slowly begins rotating clockwise, shifting position ever so slightly. There's a commotion upstairs. Wait, was that a click? You can't be sure. Gently moving the other direction again, sweat drips from your brow as your jaw clenches tighter. Just one more number. This Czech Dark Lager, with its crisp light roast, is the perfect beverage as we travel through the shorter days and colder nights.
So it's fucking 10 lines of fucking fluff and one fucking line about the fucking beer that's in the goddamn can.
And
pardon my language this early in the podcast.
And
I
frankly,
apologize to everybody.
And frankly, it doesn't really tell you anything.
Crisp and light roasty. But
it doesn't tell you anything more than dark lager as written on the front of the fucking can.
Oh, it blew me away. It blew me away. And I was just like, fuck me. Like, what has this industry come to when that shit gets fucking put on a can?
You know what that reads like? That reads like one of my beer reviews that I've been doing in the mag. That's the horse. That's the horsey one.
That's the horse one.
But obviously someone wanted a career in creative writing of some description and ended up in the beer industry accidentally.
Beer marketing.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that too loud. I've got to say the boys at the Rusty Penny have really took what I said last episode on the chin, because I was giving them a little bit of shit about dyslexic writing on the backs of cans, and they obviously heard the podcast and really put our name out there on their channel. So thank you very much, lads. But I'm sorry to give you a bit of help.
Some more of them appeared in the fridge at work. So
this Santa's little helper.
Tell you what though, it is fucking spot on.
Oh yeah,
that is good.
That deserves a little Michael Fassbender perfection.
Yeah. And the can art's really cool. It's a bunch of cogs, but they're bronze, silver, like steel grey, and then gold. And so
their depth too. Yeah. Some of them.
So when you do rotate the can, you can't see it there. The light comes through. It's very, very cool.
Tom loves a bunch of cogs.
I do. Also a bunch of dicks. In a bag. Different sized, all shapes and sizes. But yes, it's a light roasty lager. It is there's a bit of chill in the air tonight. Go put the overshirt on. So Yeah, it's perfect for that. It's light enough that it's not gonna, malt bomb you to the thing, but there is that roastiness coming through, but it's not like overpowering coffee, and it's very. I'd drink this in the middle of summer as well. It's refreshingly crisp. It is great.
Yeah, got to agree. We loved it when we had it.
Yeah,
It was
that's
fantastic.
that's a 4.5 straight off the mark.
Yep, definitely.
Damn. Recording a podcast without drinking sucks.
Well, you now you
that's
just
like, that's like 90% of the world's podcast, though.
You're to buy beer list. Your Bucket Boys shopping cart can just fill up as the night goes along.
Oh, yeah.
I'm drinking, and I do have to say this was from care package from Mick down at Sunday Road. This is Sunday Road Samba. Blackberry and raspberry sour, 5%. I'm going on the lighter ones tonight, or for the time being. I'll probably delve into the
change your mind later.
something heavier and regret it at 5 o'clock in the morning when I have to get up. And this is really good. Like it's on that borderline of sourness where it's not quite enough to that too much. It's in that beautiful Goldilocks zone. Nice and light and tart, and the berries really combine. There's no real separating the raspberry from the blackberry. It's just running all together. I probably should have read the back of the can. No, too long. I'm not going to read that one. Tom's already read one out tonight. It's a really nice light. That looks way redder on the screen than what it actually is. It's kind of like a very. It's once again, the color looking at it in real life is a real blend of the blackberries and raspberries. It's not red enough to be raspberry, but it hasn't got that complete purple hue of the blackberry in it. So it's a really beautiful combination, flavor wise and color wise, and really aromatic for both the berries, but not super overpowering. You don't get any of that. I know it's not fake fruit in there, but when something's just been put in the wrong time of fermentation, so you're getting some funky esters coming from yeast combining with the fruit, and it can give a bit of that fake raspberry smell to it, like lolly raspberry kind of smell to it. This isn't giving off any of that. It's just like fresh fruit all the way through. So no, it's really good. I 100% a 4.25 on that one.
Well, it wasn't too many episodes ago you were screaming about how much you hate quarter points.
Oh, no, I'm only doing quarter points now because you called me out on it. So now I'm just going to do quarter points now going forward. Nothing's going to be a half point or a full point. It's now just going to be quarter points and 3/4 points going through.
Cool. It's actually it's not a true rebrew. It's a they brewed
can now.
They rebrewed. They brewed a summer Samba sour last year with boysenberries and raspberries, I think.
Ooh, I love it when they re-berry something. Love a different mix of berries. That's good.
Yeah,
it means you got a really solid just base sour to like go off.
Totally agree. Just looking back up summer Samba 2021, Philly sour yeast strain, added heaps of raspberry and a touch of boysenberry.
Okay, that's sourer than I thought for Philly sour, but yeah.
Summer Samba has waltzed its way back just in time for summer, this time with a blackberry twist. Ripples are right raspberry mingled with sweet blackberries to sing a heliotrope melody. Your glass will be greeted with light magenta sunset with hints of inky purple throughout. One sip and your taste buds will be singing a different tune.
Yes, I'm just sambering.
You just need to put the background track while Tom's doing this.
They need that drum, the metal top drum with all the noises.
Steel drums.
Yes. No. Yeah.
Well, you're talking about the bronze. Ooh.
Yes. You hit it and hit it in different spots, and it makes different pitch sound.
I automatically went to parry that. I'm like,
mate, that was
your brain's just hardwired to that.
Still in the bar. It reminded me of that Vine, but you guys probably don't know the reference. It ended up being a meme. But anyway.
Bring back vines. Bring back vines. That's what the whole topic of tonight is going to be.
Bring back
vines.
I thoroughly enjoy some of the best Vine content that's still out there on YouTube. Anytime I'm feeling down, I watch that shit.
Absolutely.
What were you going to ask me, Dan? The coffee is fantastic. If that's what you were going to ask.
Is it a Makona blend? What are we
I've got
diving into tonight?
Proper coffee beans that I grind myself. Well, I don't grind myself. It's not like I'm sitting there with a fucking hand grinder, but
mortar and pestle.
I hand grind mine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but we're not talking about marijuana. We're talking about coffee.
Yeah, well,
I got a machine for my coffee.
I hand grind my coffee.
Dan's just there in his forge, just like smashing coffee beans just with his hammer,
one at a time.
We're going to have the forge conversation off air later on, but
okay.
Yes,
it's Vittoria, and it's excellent. Thank you. Should we kick off with some news?
We interrupt this broadcast with some breaking news from the front.
Oh, but it's bad news. I don't want to start with bad news.
Okay, let's start with the second item then.
No. Start with the bad news.
No, it's like a Band-Aid. Just got to rip it off.
Yeah, rip it off.
Who wants to rip it off?
I thought you.
I'll do it. It's very, very sad, but
it is.
The voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy, unfortunately passed away last week. Very sad. Absolutely.
Like 64.
60 something?
Yeah. It's fucking
66.
terrible. It's 66.
Yeah, too young.
Too young.
And has been the voice of Batman for a fucking long time.
For those who don't recognize the name, if you ever watched Batman the animated series,
played the Arkham games,
Arkham,
yeah. Seen the early DC animated movies before. It's who is it? John Hammond now.
They did
the
change
Batman
it up.
voice.
And he got to play it live action once, didn't he? In one of the.
Oh yeah, in the Flash series.
Yeah, he came in. I'm pretty sure he has a cameo.
Yeah. The Crisis crossover.
I jumped off the CW bandwagon by that stage. That's why I don't recognize it.
Yeah, it's one of those voices that when he's not present as Batman in any animated version, it just
out as wrong.
Throws me. Yeah, completely throws me. And even when they didn't use him for Batman Arkham Origins, the Warner Brothers Montreal entry into the Arkham series, which is an excellent game, and the voice actor that played the Batman was fantastic, but he wasn't Kevin Conroy. And yeah, it's a real shame. Like, he's such an iconic voice. Like, obviously we all watched the animated series early on in the early 90s. I think it started like 92 or something like that. It started after Batman 89, so I think it started after 89 and before Returns. That is my hot take. I'm probably wrong, but
it's too hard for me to check. By the way, it was he was in Batwoman,
1992 to 95.
There you go. And we had no internet in those stages, so we probably didn't know what Kevin Conroy looks like until almost the 2000s, when we actually got internet and we were able to see
who these
some
people
behind
were
the
that
scenes.
have been voicing it.
Yeah. And he just he was so unassuming for someone that had such a powerful voice for this really super powerful character. So yeah,
as surprising in a very different dimension to how badly Mark Hamill had aged when we looked him up for the Joker.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, that's sad. Anyway.
Yeah, it is sad news.
On to other things.
Yeah. It's not really happier news, more ambivalent news. If you want a PlayStation VR 2, there's no rush, apparently.
Yeah, because you know how long it takes to sell a kidney to afford one of those fucking things? Jesus Christ.
Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
It's more than the PlayStation 5, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah,
which you need to run it.
To run it, yeah.
Which is probably, ironically enough, why a whole lot of PSVR 2s haven't been selling, because no one's got a PS5 to fucking use it. There's still people on Reddit screaming that they can't get a PS5 for love or money.
But they're lazy fucks, man. I walked into Big W the other week and saw them there being sold. I saw someone walk out with one. Like, sorry.
And he didn't even have a stab vest on for fear of it being stolen on the way to the
walked out, happy as Larry. I gave him the nod. I was like, I got one of those. He's like, fuck yeah, man.
So I pre-ordered one at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, which is when pre-orders went live, under the assumption, or at least not wanting to take the risk, that they'd sell out.
Yeah.
But I checked just before we started recording, just for the sake of the notes.
It's nice to know, Pete, that you always meet expectations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, I'm 40. Do you not think that my personality is essentially cast in cement now?
Sure.
This is as fucked up as I'm ever going to get, but it's also as normal as I'm ever going to get. It's all about perspective. So, I mean, I checked just before the show. You can still jump onto the JB Hi-Fi website and part with $950 for an appliance you're not getting until February, which, frankly, I think is fucking rude. There's 3 places you can pre-order in Australia. Amazon, 0 deposit. Although, interestingly, they're charging $1,250, or $1,150, which is weird because they've also got a price guarantee. So there's been lots of people saying it must be some sort of Amazon bug that they'll fix or whatever, Trevor. I don't know, but I noticed that, one, it's $200 more expensive than retail.
That might be a placeholder price from before they announced the...
Yeah, I would presume so. But no deposit. EB Games originally announced they'd be accepting $200 deposits, but when it went live on Tuesday, they had tuned it down to $100.
Yep.
And then JB Hi-Fi, who charge you the full $850, which is just fucking rude.
$850 off the bat.
Yeah. For something you won't even see for 4 months. And the other thing
means when you come round to it, post silly season, post summer, it's like, oh shit, I owe these guys $750 and I don't.
Yes, but I like later problems, Tom, not now problems.
Yeah, sorry. I'll just go, politely fuck myself.
Just do it off screen if you could, mate. But the other thing I found was a little rude with the JB website was whilst the text in the shopping window will tell you that the expected delivery date is February, the actual formal delivery date in the order is December 2023.
No, and that's got to be a placeholder as well.
I can only assume it means that, well, yes, but if they fail to meet the deadline that they put in the sales order, then you could ask for a refund and they couldn't really stop you. So if they just put the date somewhere arbitrarily much later, then you're never getting your fucking money. And if Sony slips the date by a couple of months, that's my conjecture as to why they would do that. Anyway, there's still stock available for pre-order if you want one.
Yeah, having not had a PSVR 1, I don't know if I can drop $950 to get the second one.
That's completely fair enough.
Yeah, without probably coming over and trialing it at yours.
It's exactly what I was going to suggest. Wait till there's some games out, because frankly, it looks like it does look like there's going to be 10 to 15 titles at launch, which is 9 to 14 more titles than at launch for PSV1, VR1. So that's good. I bought the Breath of the Wild bundle, so at least I know I'll be playing yet another demonstration experience. But at least with this one's branded Horizon.
Which bundle?
Breath of the Wild. Sorry, Horizon. Breath of the Mountain.
Call of the Mountain.
Call of the Mountain.
For someone who's never played a Zelda game, fuck, you really.
You know what fucked me up? You mentioned Zelda on chat not long ago. That's probably what put it in my head.
Greatest game series ever. So.
Anyway. Moving on, Doctor Who, some Doctor Who news. I promised that I wouldn't talk about it for like 5 episodes. I'm pretty sure I'm well over that threshold now.
You've had, to be fair, in the last 2 years, you've had
not much to say on the topic.
Mate, like drip fed, like
it's been little bits,
and then in the last 2 it's 2 weeks, it's all fucking just exploded on you again.
Yeah, but I haven't talked on the podcast. Oh, that's just been me hassling you fuckers on the chat channel. So. First of all, and I'm pretty excited about this, Doctor Who, first bit I don't really care about, no one will. Looks like Doctor Who's moving to Disney Plus worldwide for distribution outside of the UK. So it's going to live in...
I'm happy about that. What do you mean nobody will give a fuck? I am happy about that. I don't get it anywhere else.
Yeah, you can. Just download SBS.
It's on SBS, is it?
Oh, no, it's ABC. Sorry, it's on ABC.
Yeah, that ABC app fucking sucks, man.
It does fucking suck. Same as Binge. No, I totally agree with you. You can't pause it.
They just fucking suck.
Yeah.
God damn those non-for-profit TV organizations. No, it's probably not non-for-profit.
No, it's federally
funded, yeah.
Funded, which means your taxpayers paying for that rot.
Yeah, yeah.
At least they've got an excuse though. Binge, on the other hand, is funded by fucking Foxtel. Those guys have got more money than God, so they got no excuse. But you can't pause Binge, you can't replay Binge, you can't rewind Binge. You have to throw Binge in the fucking bin, or at least that's the implementation on Apple TV. Anyway, Doctor Who moving to Disney Plus, cool story. But also after the shit show run that Chris Chibnall had as the showrunner. He did I think it was a 6-part miniseries last year, and I'm assuming it's due to COVID lockdown disrupting recording schedules and the rest of it. But the 6-part miniseries was called Flux, and it was a fixed story arc across 6 movie-length episodes. And I got to say, it was fucking brilliant. Like, it really was well written. It was well structured. It brought me right back to the Bad Wolf kind of stuff from the original remake of Doctor Who back in 2005. So I was extremely impressed by that. It led into a couple of one-off specials, and then she dies, which I think is pretty public information. Jodie Whittaker dies and regenerates into the next Doctor.
Yeah, well, they announced it. We spoke about it like a year ago. Probably not year ago. 6 months ago.
Yes. But what we talked about was that it had been announced that she would be regenerating at the end of this little mini series, and it was announced who she was regenerating into, which was Netwe. I can't remember his name now. That makes me look really bad. What was his name?
Peter didn't write the name down.
He's an African Englishman.
Yes.
Anyway, no, I didn't write it down because I blew my stack when I watched the last, which was a Halloween special where she actually regenerated into David Tennant, who's doing the 60th anniversary, I think. It must be the 60th because we've already been past the 50th. He's doing a 60th anniversary special before handing the title over to, I'm sure it's Netwe. I'm sure that's his name. He's from.
Sounds familiar.
He's from Sex Education.
Netwe Gutwa.
Thank you. I was mispronouncing it. And I got to say, the last special that Jodie Whittaker was in was brilliant. They brought back 4 of the old Doctor's actors, and they had a stand-in actor representing the very first Doctor. And I'll tell you what, comparing the CGI augmented actor's face to like the old school archive footage, they got him fucking spot on for the original Doctor.
Yeah, well, it was fucking low def and black and white. How hard is it to get that wrong?
And also mostly burned up in the fire of the BBC warehouse. Most of the original Doctor is destroyed footage. They don't have it.
Hopefully not most of the original Doctor, but his recordings. But yes.
Yeah, thank you. The original Doctor's cellulose film recording. How's that?
Yeah.
Moving on. I thought I didn't even know that they were doing an It prequel TV series.
What?
But apparently HBO Max are doing a prequel series called Welcome to Derry, and Bill Skarsgård, who played It in the 2 remake movies,
You get him to see him fight a big turtle?
is reprising the role. Sure, is that a reference to the books?
Well, well, he's meant to be like the ultimate evil and the ultimate goods represented by a big turtle. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not a huge Stephen King reader.
It was a big turtle. I remember that.
Big turtle? Yeah, I want to see
space turtle.
Yeah, big space turtle. Yeah, I want to see a fucking big space clown find a big space turtle, man. That's what I want to see in the fucking prequel.
See, I'm pretty sure that is one of my sleep paralysis demons is a giant space turtle fighting a space clown.
I'm really sad about this next piece of news, and I'm so surprised by it too.
Well, wait a minute. Before we get there, we really glanced over that fucking Bill Skarsgård thing.
I think he's brilliant as the actor playing the demon clown, Pennywise.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you want me to say about it. I don't know much. I mean, look, there hasn't been much announcement beyond that they're doing it.
Okay.
I don't think there's even a date set for when it starts, just that they're filming it, but they've only just announced casting, which is why the news is that Bill's come back.
It's interesting because he's been rumoredly cast as the Crow in the next Crow movie as well. So
they're still doing those.
That was going to be my underrated 90s movie, but I chose the
I
action.
don't know that it was underrated, Dan.
Yeah, well, it
pretty
was
sure
a cult.
it was-
It was definitely a cult movie.
But
Definitely
a cult classic.
movie.
You know what we should have done? Why did no one think of this? And particularly since I'm currently reading the entire first 50 comics in an omnibus, Spawn was definitely an underrated 90s action flick. Because it bombed at the time, other than for hardcore comic book fans.
Let's cover that when we get there and set a ground rule for what bombs at box offices, and let's see. Let's look at the box office for each one of the three that we picked.
Brilliant
and
idea, actually.
See where the box office money lies.
Can I just go rewind just a little bit to the previous topic of the Doctor, and then how Dan made a throwaway comment about he hopes the original Doctor didn't burn up
in the fire.
He was cremated. I looked it up.
Okay.
That thought of ashes just did waft past my mind, but I thought I'd just let it go, Tom, out of some reasonable good taste.
Nope, he was cremated.
Thanks.
Kent and Sussex Crematorium. There you go. The things you can find online these days.
Yes, that's it. The next piece of news shouldn't come as a surprise to fucking anybody in reality. Black Adam, even though they've been bragging that they made 350 million global box office takings, will actually land in the red. Oh, what a shame.
I did intend to go watch it purely because we'd been shitting on it so much. I felt like I then had to go watch it so I could be like, oh, look, what we were saying is 100% true.
But I can... Yeah, look, I'll watch it when it's free to air, bro.
Well, that's the thing. It's gone... I left it for so long. It's no longer on at the Dendy, so I can't even go see it on the cheap Monday. I've missed the window.
They're generally released 45 days after it closes at cinemas on some sort of streaming service. Although, interestingly, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever will be breaking that trend on Disney Plus. So the trend has been 45 days between cinema release and Disney Plus. But apparently, there's no plan to release Wakanda Forever this side of Christmas or New Year's. So,
I mean, that's fair because I put a little footnote in the end of that little news piece that
Black
Panther made that in one weekend. What Black Adam's made, Black Panther's made in a weekend. So,
but it just feels to me like, and I know this is not how it's going to play out, or probably even related causally, but it just makes me want to think that somewhere Dwayne Johnson's eating a nice serving of humble fucking pie for all the bragging and bullshit he went on about.
I guarantee you he's not.
But funnily enough, apparently the movie Black Adam cost $195 million to make, and then you've got distribution costs and advertising costs and all that sort of shit, and that's not a small amount of money. The distro and advertising. So to make $350 million in takings and to land very firmly in the red says something. And the other comparison that the news articles that I've read, two of them mentioned, was that Shazam cost half that to make and brought in the same fucking box office return globally of 350 mil. So basically means it's very unlikely that they'll make the Black Adam sequel, although they have said that they're likely to keep Dwayne Johnson in the DC universe, which segues perfectly into them announcing essentially what we've been talking about. So James Gunn and Peter Safran have been announced as co-heads of DC Studios under Warner Brothers Discovery, and they've almost finished penning what they're calling a Bible, which is a 10-year plan for the DC universe that unifies all the franchises and intellectual properties under one banner. And the one comment they've made so far, or actually it was a guy named Bob, I can't remember his surname, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, said, there will not be 4 Batmen for fucking long. Now, I don't know who the fourth is, but you've got Robin Pattinson, you've got Ben Affleck, and you've got Michael Keaton. I don't know who the fourth is, but they're all concurrently starring as Batman at the moment in the next 6 to 12 months. So,
weird.
I don't know who the fourth is, probably the cartoon Batman. But yeah, they're talking about potentially consolidating. But a 10-year plan can only be a good thing, right? It is what we were talking about.
Unless you're going to try and push shit uphill for 10 years. It's not a really good plan.
No, I'm not saying they can't fuck it, but what I am saying is...
they're putting thought into it.
Dan's muted himself. Is that because he's got no comment on this topic, or...?
I definitely have no comment. You like everybody's heard my comments on this to fucking death. You even made a bloody podcast artwork about it and named one after it. I obviously have a huge amount of comments on it. No, they need to.
I'm not talking about Dwayne Johnson anymore. That's what we made the artwork about.
Oh, okay. We're not talking about.
I'm talking about the fact that last podcast episode, the three of us were ranting that why the fuck don't you start with Darkest Night and work backwards? Figure out a 10-year movie strategy to build up to Darkest Night as Blackest Night, sorry, as the major crossover point, which would be the equivalent of Endgame. And work backwards from that. And now we get the news that they are actually working on a 10-year fucking plan to build a roadmap for the DC Universe cinematography.
Can't wait to hear the James Gunn playlist for his 10-year DCEU plan. Just
oh, God. Anyway. I think my only problem I have with that is like, are they your 10-year plan? Okay, you got a 10-year plan. What are you going to do for the first fucking 7 to 8 years of that 10-year plan? Are you going to tell origin stories and then have fucking crossovers again? Like it's wasted goddamn fucking time. Like we know this
that they
shit.
are going to, Dan. But don't get incensed yet. But
if they don't do 10 years worth of origin stories, I'm going to be unhappy. That's all I want.
Yeah, yeah. The Blue Beetle origins. I can imagine it now. Or what was that gold guy? Anyway,
Booster Gold.
The origin story.
Booster Gold. Booster Gold's actually a very interesting story, by the way. He's a bit of a dick of a character, but it's actually a very interesting story.
I warmed to him immediately in DC Universe Online because he was a dick of a character. Just right up my alley. But and he's always got a witty fucking remark to make. He's kind of like, he's not Deadpool in DC, but he's not too far off in terms of the smart aleck nature. You can't tell me that as soon as they realized, they realized that Marvel movies were making shitloads of money and that they could continue to make shitloads of money if they built a strategy. You can't tell me as soon as they had that realization around Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, they didn't build a 10-year fucking plan. We wouldn't have phase 2 if they hadn't.
No, I'm sure 100% they did. Of course they did. They had a general idea of where it was going to go from after these successes, and they started to. Soon as Tony Stark ended up in the post-credit sequence of the Incredible Hulk, that was the end of it. That was it was the end of them. The end of them thinking they're just going to do little bits and pieces. It was the start of the big story, and they obviously had a plan before that, which The Incredible Hulk was the second movie in that.
I don't know that they did, Dan, because they ended up with the third Hulk actor anyway.
Yeah, but that was because Edward Norton was
negotiations more than anything.
Okay.
And so your 10-year plan, and it's like, what's it going to be? Like, don't just talk to us about a 10-year plan. Like, going to give us a little bit more than this. Don't give us don't.
It's early days, but yeah.
And this is exactly what the Batman did. It didn't show us the fucking origin story of the Batman again with his parents dying. It did it in a different way. It showed his emotional link to another child who'd lost his father in a tragic way without showing the Waynes dying again. If we're going to go a 10-year plan... And
executed much better than having emotional turmoil because your mums have the same name. Just putting that out there.
Well, that too. So...
Why did you say that name?
they still do it with a straight face. Marva!
They still need to go back to starting with something big. Start with them all together. And you know what? I've been thinking about this even more since we came up with our 10-year plan last episode. Is like, how cool would it be? Like, they're going to do more Batman movies. 100% they're going to do more Batman movies. The Batman movies are going to be a big part of this 10-year plan. What if they started with...
Cavill as Superman's going to be a part of it.
What if they started with Darkseid killing Batman in Crisis on Infinite Earth? Crisis on Infinite Earth? I don't know. There's been so many crises. End of that.
It might be Infinite Crisis. I can't even fucking remember anymore. No, it's Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Batman dies, but he doesn't die. He ends up in prehistory. And he ends up traveling through all the ages on his way. And this is where Booster Gold comes into it, because Booster Gold takes Superman and Green Lantern. It's been a long time since I've read those books. On the search for Batman, because Booster Gold is this dick of a character that travels through reality and time. And like, what about Batman movies where it's Bruce Wayne fighting cavemen with a fucking skin as the cowl, and then you end up with
he has actual bat wings for a cape.
Now that is an origin story just of the human race.
Yeah, Gotham by Gaslight. You end up with Batman in Victorian Europe, and like, show us something different. Don't just fucking show us the same. Well, and then it went through to Batman in the Caribbean in pirate times, and he was.
But to me, you're just describing a very high budget Batman-esque Doctor Who. Just skipping through all the past ages as the same character. I'd pay money to fucking see that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Give us something different. Don't give us just the same shit again. Don't give us origin stories. Marvel's done origin stories. DC's done origin stories. We don't need more goddamn fucking origin stories. But they're going to do it. They're going to do it. I stand by this. And
if you look at other franchises, or even if you look at any other standalone 3-act movie, Book of Eli, they don't go into the guy's history. They expose it through storyline. They show, not tell. But and I'm not saying that origin movies are telling, not showing, but their existence is is an equivalence. I don't need to watch a whole movie about how Cyborg died and then converted into Cyborg. Just have the fucking character in the movie. I don't need
little video edits of his father creating him.
Yes, but that was essentially he got more origin screen time than he needed in that movie.
Oh, I don't disagree. Yeah, he should have just been there. Everybody understood. He was consumed by the Motherbox. It was very obvious with how
they could have made and they could have made a cross IP joke about, hey, what's Bumblebee? Who invited Bumblebee or some random shit, and just gotten on with the fucking movie. I just don't think they needed an origin story. What are you smoking about?
I've just made a really bad Tom joke in my head.
Go on. Yeah, right, mate. That's what the podcast is for.
When Dan said he was consumed by the Motherbox for his origin story, usually you're expelled from the Motherbox for
in your origin story.
Oh, that's a bad one. That's a bad one.
Episode title: Expelled from the Motherbox.
I can imagine the artwork already.
Oh, dear God.
Last piece of news, just so we can wrap this section. I'm actually pretty fucking surprised and excited about this because I didn't know this was happening. Constantine 2 has been confirmed formally. Francis Lawrence is reprising his directorship after he was the director of Constantine 1. And he literally said, I'm kicking the can around script-wise with Keanu. So clearly Keanu Reeves is fucking on board.
It has to be. Keanu's been on for a while. He's been vocal saying he would do it again.
And then he made a hilarious comment about the R rating. He wants to do an R-rated Constantine movie.
And Constantine should be R-rated.
Yeah, 100%.
He said he wanted the original movie to be R-rated. Warner Brothers stopped him and forced him to go down a PG-13 route, and then the movie ended up being classified as fucking R anyway. So he said, I made the kid-friendliest R-rated movie in fucking history, and it should have been R to start with.
Yeah,
and you can't be part in the comic series of Justice League Dark and not have it R-rated.
And Constantine as a character, but even Constantine as a character, he's a dirty, conniving piece of shit, which is what makes him hilarious.
And Keanu is way less than what he is in the comic books.
Yes,
his version, his interpretation in the movie is far less of a. Peter, do you have a little marker system on this new program we're using?
No, but I'll write down the time.
He's far less of a in the movie than by far in the comic books, and he is a fucking wretched prick in the comic book.
Yeah, he's done the most horrible, horrible, horrible shit, and he always talks about atoning for it, and then goes and does the same shit to the next guy.
In the comic books, though, he does justify it as a means to an end. He's nobody is going to do this if I don't do it. And it's not in the comic books. He's not trying like the movies.
He's not an arsehole for the sake of being an arsehole.
Yeah, in the movies, he's trying to gain his redemption and end in heaven. The comic books, he's not trying to do that. Constantine is just trying to get by and make sure the world doesn't end up in a hell toilet. And that's all he's trying to do. And if he has to sacrifice the people that are quote unquote closest to him, because even in the comic books, he really doesn't have anybody close to him. And the inner monologue that talks in there, he goes, he's always talking about one day I'm going to fuck this person over and I'm going to do it for the good of everybody, but nobody's going to see it that way.
Yeah.
And he's quite open about those. Well, they write him, and I'm talking about him like he's a real fucking person. They write him as being
they're real to us.
He has come to terms with that this is his place to do these things. So
it is you, Peter.
Man, I listened to the Hook soundtrack the other day. It still fucking slaps.
That whole fucking movie stands up goddamn.
I think I'm due for a Hook watch.
Toodles lost his marbles.
Sorry to cut you off there, Dan. I couldn't resist.
No. Yeah.
Look, I think that what Keanu let's just say Keanu and Francis did with the character for the Constantine movie was divorced from the comic book character. It was clearly built on the premises of the comic book character, but it moved pretty well away as well. I don't even need them to bring it closer to the comic. If they made an R-rated follow-up to the character they created for the first movie, I'd be happy because Constantine is one of my all-time favorite films.
As long as they bring back Papa Midnight, I'm good.
Yeah.
Have him and have it as a more of a buddy cop series with Papa Midnight. I'm fucking
an R-rated buddy cop movie. That'd be fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes. Totally agree. And thankfully, was it Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah.
LaBeouf, yeah. I can't think of that guy without that weird meme video. At least he's dead, so we don't have to deal with that bullshit.
Do it! You can do it!
Second beers. While you guys talk about your second beers, and Tom, can you write them down? I'm going to go grab a Coke Zero because I'm thirsty.
There's more caffeine.
Yeah. I took a pre-workout. There's 320. There's like 40 cups of coffee worth of caffeine in my pre-workout, and I still sleep at night. So whatever, Trevor. I'll be right back.
My heart just ached a little for the amount of
caffeine there.
Yeah, Jesus!
I felt
a pain.
It's a sympathetic arrhythmia.
Yeah, Jesus.
I'll be right back.
You can go first this time, Squire.
I'm doing another sour, just a straight raspberry sour this time. Double happiness. Oh, fuck me. That means it's god damn. This is what I get for not reading things properly before I buy them.
You fool.
God damn it. Boatrocker, double happiness, raspberry sour, fucking 6.8%. That's my third beer of the night, and the keeping them under a 5% limit's gone straight out the window. This is just full on raspberry. This is it's got almost that sherbety character that I was saying the Sunday Road one didn't have. This definitely has that. I'm gonna sneeze.
While Dan sneezes, let's all look at his face. You stop a sneeze and Angel misses out on its orgasm. Just remember that.
Good. Fuck those. Peter wasn't here.
I wrote down the time.
It's.
How do you drop a C-bomb about a beer?
I wrote down the time though, Peter. Look at me go.
Thanks.
It's fine. It's fine. It's good. It's fine. It's fine. It's this one, Pete, has that sweet sherbety raspberry character that I was talking the first one didn't have.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's
orange sherbet.
It's fine, and I guess they've got a higher. Actually, it might actually have lactose in it. It might actually have lactose in it because it is a double. So it's 6 point something. No, it doesn't say it has lactose in it. So
8%.
it's definitely sweeter. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'll tell you that.
Say fine again.
A light sourness to it. The raspberry character's there. It's well carbonated. It's a pretty color. It's a beer.
Wow, that sounds like
it's a double of the Miss Pinky, which is like one of their like house sours.
Sure.
So Boatrocker Brewing double happiness.
It's fine. It's
and
not.
You're giving it a 2.25.
No. It's well. It's not. It's nowhere near like that. It's let's go 3.75.
Okay.
Miss Pinky, for those playing at home, is 3.4, so it's exactly half. They use 2 strains of lactobacillus in it, and then 100 kilos of fresh sourced raspberries.
See, the funny thing about that is 100 kilos of anything without telling you what size their mash is means nothing to me.
Like tasting and knowing how much I've put in other beers, that'd be going 100 kilos to probably 4,000 liters.
Okay, so it's not a 10 hectoliter fucking kettle. So, but you get my point, though, right? If you said you spent $150 to fill up your car and you're driving an Astra, that's different than me filling up my 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, 100%.
So, anyway, 1.2 gigawatts.
That is the beer I'm drinking. I've gone for a
Sorry,
double
Dan,
down.
have you finished? I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'm done. Tom doesn't want to hear me say it's fine again.
Put the score in. It's done.
I have this quirk that if I see that written down, I have to say that out loud. Carry on.
Do you want to do it again? Will I hold up the can?
1.2 gigawatts.
Hazy Pale from Deeds, 5.6%. Dan, you're going to love the back of this can. Let me get out my spectacles. Save the clock tower. The clock tower was struck by lightning at 10:04 p.m. on November 12th, 1955. Mayor Wilson is sponsoring an initiative to replace that clock. 30 years ago, lightning struck that clock tower, and the clock hasn't run since. We at the Hill Valley Preservation Society think it should be preserved exactly the way it was, as part of our history and heritage. Let this hazy pale take you back to simpler times. You don't need a DeLorean to get there. That's it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Come on, man. Come on.
This is the beer blurb equivalent of edging for Dan.
No, it's not even that. It's the like. Oh, fuck me.
What did you ask me if I was going to clip it? Clip what?
Oh, when I yelled in the microphone. Then
nah, it's fine.
It's just like if you're gonna do something that's dedicated to an homage to something like that, like that's way too much calling out. Like if people don't get it, that is the DeLorean dashboard. Like if they don't get it, they don't get it. You don't need to sit there and go, here's this. Like if you don't fucking get it, you don't get it. Like talk about whatever. I'm going on mute again.
And he's done. Anyway,
which, let's be honest. Sorry to cut you off there for a second there, Tom. But let's be honest. That's what I loved about a certain old brewing company that no longer exists, because it was here's a reference, and it might be 1.2 gigawatts or gigawatts as the name of the beer, and then the artwork would be a homage to Back to the Future, but it wouldn't say, in case you're cross-eyed and you've never seen any pop culture reference before, this is a reference to the Back to the Future movie. Like, it was creative in its way of connecting to the IP. Anyway, sorry.
Do you want to know what hops they use now?
Yeah, please.
A little curious.
Not really.
They used Azaka, Vic Secret, Citra Cryo, Citra, and Sabro.
It had me until the Sabro.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm just going to add Sabro to every beer I read out now, just to throw you off, just like really fuck with you.
Citra plus Cryo Citra probably be.
It's Citra. It's just Citra. It's like
the beer's just Citra, is it? Yeah.
It's quite green. It tastes quite green. It's got I guess more hop burny. It was, but surprisingly, it was packaged back in April, and it's still
wow.
Still got
man, that's good quality.
Well, they did say they use 16 grams a litre of dry hop intensity. So.
Oh, yeah.
That might be why. It
And
must
that's
be an
just the dry hop. They're not telling you
beer.
what they put in the rest of like
kettle,
the kettle. Yeah. It pours. Look at that. It's a thick golden color. The head's dissipated a bit, probably because I needed to wash my glass after that lager. But yeah, it's that bright citrus and bit of melon in there. It's got a quite nice aroma, which feels more balanced. But when you actually taste it, it's just still a bit hot burny going all the way down. But
that's good, man. I fucking April. Hats off to him.
Yeah, I mean it's Deeds. They know how to hop the shit out of something. So and it's held up. But yeah, I do have 2 more Deeds cans in the fridge, but I don't want to be blowing Deeds all night, so I'm going to stop there.
We haven't given them a score yet, so you may be trashing them too. We don't know if you're blowing them.
Yes, because that would be a dirty deed done real cheap. No, I'm sorry. Yee-hoo!
It's the Libyans. I don't know how they found me, but they found me.
That is, I mean, that's another solid 4.5. It's like I can only imagine how much that would have like ripped your palate to shreds though when it was fresh. Like it's tasting
great as shit.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like I would have said that was canned up like a month or 2 ago. For it to be April, like fuck yeah, well done, guys. Like that's well deserving of that 4.5. And I do dig the can art, maybe not the description. Labels smack back on again. Oh, whoever's on the can line for these two, give them a raise because they figured that baby out. That 1.21, I think it's going on the fridge. It gets that claim. Yep, there we go. Should show you boys the updated fridge. It's getting I'm running out of space.
I love receiving pictures of fridges, Tom. So please send me pictures of your fridge.
Oh, wait till you see the energy rating. Ooh, that's quality.
Cool. Should we move on?
Moving along.
So we've got a couple of quick reviews to do, and Tom's going to try and do a spoiler-free review of Black Panther 2 at some point. But here's a bit of news that we left out of the news section because
should we do the other quick reviews first?
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
before and then we spend the next 3 hours of you guys yelling about it.
But we can't. But yes, all right. I wanted to do a quick review. Have you guys seen Clerks 3?
No,
not yet. No.
Look, Clerks 2 is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's in my top 10. It is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I've been in tears laughing multiple times through multiple rewatches of that film. It's just, for me, it's almost a perfect movie in terms of comedy. It's dirty. It's wrong. It wouldn't stand you. I don't know if you'd get away with it in society. Thanks, Tom. I don't know if you'd get away with making that movie today. I think Kevin Smith would anyway.
Probably.
But it's probably pushing it a little these days. Clerks 3, by comparison.
But Pete, you love going ass to mouth.
There's nothing wrong with going ass to mouth. Clerks 3, on the other hand, was an utter... I wouldn't say an utter disappointment, but it was very disappointing to me. It was so meta, it was too meta for my tastes. And I don't know if you guys saw the final Jay and Silent Bob film.
Yeah.
Where they make the movie. And it's kind of like that level of meta, and it just didn't land for me.
That's horribly disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool conceptually, it was cool bringing all of the characters, pretty much all of the actors that are still alive that were in Clerks 1 back to Clerks 3. But the device that the reason they did that, it just didn't land for me. I'm sure other people think it's fucking amazing, and it is very much an homage to Kevin Smith's filmmaking career. And for that, you have to give the guy credit. He deserves to be able to make that film for him, no questions asked. But for me, as somebody who loved Clerks 1, and because it was completely different from everything else out at the time, and then loved Clerks 2 for very different reasons, Clerks 3 just felt like regurgitation.
See, I'm pretty sure I said that when we reviewed the trailer, that it looked like a bunch of guys trying to reclaim their youth and be funny when it's.
But that's not who Kevin Smith is. So I can understand that aspect.
But that was just my thematically
the hot
at,
take from the trailer. Yeah. And to an extent you're right. But I don't think Kevin Smith is the sort of guy that needs to reclaim his youth. He's still making fucking well-rated movies. He doesn't really need to cash in. He doesn't really need to make a film just for fun. I think for him, he wanted to make a movie for him and his mates.
Yeah, right.
And unfortunately, as a part of the audience, it just didn't land for me. It might land for Dan. Dan, you might love the fucking movie. Okay. To me, I was a bit meh at the end.
Okay. We'll wait and see. I will maybe watch it this weekend, and I will let you know. I
think I paid for it. I don't think it's free yet.
No, that's fine. I don't have a problem paying for that. Like it's this post-COVID era. Me and Louise will quite easily pay $30 for a movie if it's been released on Amazon, and we would have seen it at the cinemas.
Yeah,
100%. And Clerks 3 is one of those that we will happily pay for. So if it's we're just limited in what we use. So if it's on Amazon, we'll grab it on Amazon and give it a watch tomorrow night or Saturday night. Yeah,
I'm sure it'll be on Amazon Prime for purchase, but everything's on Apple. If you've got Apple TV,
we don't have Apple.
Okay.
I got 3 months free with my PlayStation. I still haven't hooked it up.
No. I don't mean Apple TV Plus, because that's not going to give you any movies anyway. I mean, you can buy it from Apple. If you've got an Apple TV box, you can buy it from the Apple library.
No.
Got it. Dayshift. So we've all seen Dayshift
in my life, Peter. You're leaving that complete. That was really restrained. I'm impressed.
I'm not drinking, Dan. Tom ate that and he just exhaled it. Woo! Dayshift. What so many movies?
It's nice to catch you off guard every now and then, Tom. I'm not usually the one that completely catches you off guard. It's usually Pete and his comments.
For those that are listening,
there was a clunk there.
For those listening rather than watching us on YouTube, Tom just smacked himself in the head with the new Mjolnir hammer from what? Meow Meow.
Meow Meow.
From the God of War Deluxe Edition. God of War Ragnarok Deluxe Edition, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So we've all seen Dayshift now, the movie that should have been Morbius.
I watched it the day it came out.
Yeah, and you recommended it to us, so I subsequently watched it.
It was what it was. It was
brilliant.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was brilliant. It played to exactly what it was until the third act, which was goddamn horrible. But
you knew they had to end the way they did.
The first two and a half acts of the movie were great. I mean, it was just it didn't ever in any frame try to be something that it wasn't.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Totally agree. And we talked about it on the Pixels and Pints friends and family chat that it is what Morbius should have tried to have been. It's a movie that didn't take itself out. You don't need to. I'll send you a photo of the next shit I take. But
please don't.
We can swap. I mean, that's fair for fridge photos, right? But Dayshift, it doesn't take itself at all seriously, and it leans into it being a non-serious vampire movie.
It took a very, very good swing at Blade Trinity in that house, the house scene with the brothers. I fucking love that.
But it was a good callback to how Blade didn't take itself that seriously.
Yeah.
100%. One of the brothers in that action sequence in there in Act 2 is a stuntman. Yeah. So he quite often appears on the Corridor Crew Stuntmen React. And it was good to see him and he's had plenty of FaceTimes. He's usually a bad guy in the movies because he gets to play the stunt.
Was it the taller one?
Yeah, the shorter one with the dark hair.
Yeah,
and pretty sure he's the shorter one. I'm pretty sure he's the shorter one. He usually plays the bad guy to the Hollywood actor hero whether it's like Jet Li or somebody like that. That's a bigger star. So it was good to see him get and once again, quote unquote, good guy role. And that house scene in the middle there was heaps of fun. Heaps of fun.
Totally agree.
Emma and I watched it on Friday night, and she's still laughing at one of the throwaway lines in the start of the film. It broke her to the point, like, I just got up to get another beer, and like she's paused. I hear her. No, I hear her like absolutely cackling. Like it broke her, like tears of laughter. And then she come back. It's paused. She goes, "You got to hear this." And it's the scene in the yogurt thing, the yogurt shop where he's getting the daughter yogurt after picking her up from school, and Jamie Foxx.
Guess we're going full spoilers here, everybody. Full spoilers.
Yeah, I mean this has nothing to do with the plot whatsoever. Yeah. It's just it works so well, and it's I've never seen Emma react to like a film like this, a throwaway line like she did. But I don't remember. Jamie Foxx, he walks up to pay for the yogurt from the yogurt shop, and he goes to this like young white girl, and he says, "Do y'all have any Black History Month discounts?" Now. They don't exist. Like that's not a thing that exists in America. So, and for those playing home, Emma is American. But it's also the fact that this is shot in the middle of the Californian summer. It is quite clear it is the middle of summer. Black History Month is in February to March, so it's like in their winter. Cold, so it's just like absolutely like completely out of the year spectrum, and it's such a. I'm really hoping that we can find out. I'm gonna have to look it up, but I'm really hoping Jamie Foxx just thought of that on the fly. Because he's actually quite a funny dude when you listen to him. Like he's done a lot of like those little. He used to be in all those kind of skit shows, and like he'd pop up and do little things. But it's just like it just reaffirmed for me. Like I think he's quite a good comedic actor, and this film really showed like let him shine. And it just also showed that Dave Franco will always be the better of the two Franco brothers. 100%. He was fantastic in it.
I think he was on point, but I'm a bit over him. Yeah, he plays the same.
He played Thing, but he's still better than James Franco.
You know who I laughed my ass off at all the way through with Snoop Dogg. He's Snoop Dogg, and
that just reaffirmed that Snoop Dogg's finished the main quest. Now he's just doing side quests. He's just having the time of his life.
He's just mopping up till he gets to the platinum. Is that what he's doing?
Pretty much. Yep.
He's definitely getting the platinum in life.
Yeah.
And Peter Stormare. I mean, we were talking about Constantine. I love Peter Stormare. He was brilliant. That was the gun shop owner.
The
what do you call them? Anyway, an illegal arms dealer for vampire teeth. Anyway, it was a brilliant little popcorn movie. Exactly what I wanted to watch.
Yeah, it was.
Worth the...
And it just goes to show that you don't have to be part of this massive franchise. You don't have to allude to 11 sequels. You don't have to try and be a genre bender. Which is what we were saying that Morbius was. It couldn't tell if it was trying to be a horror film, an action film, a suspenseful thriller, a science fiction.
Oh yeah,
or
I don't need
standard
a Night Shift 2. Like that movie just exists as it is, and it's great.
But they will do it. You know that. Because it was probably.
Yeah,
I'd say it was a popular movie. So
Morbius or Night Shift?
No, Night Shift.
Dayshift.
Dayshift, yeah. Well, there you go. Dayshift, Night Shift. I know.
Yeah. But you're talking about Jamie Foxx's comedic chops, and I think the best comedic role was his role in Horrible Bosses, where he was the gangster. And have you guys not seen Horrible Bosses? Oh fuck me.
I think I have. But yeah.
Oh, come on. Jason Bateman, man. Like, Horrible Bosses is...
I have seen it, but it didn't stand out. It must have been in a part of my life that there was a lot going on.
Okay, we quote Horrible Bosses here in this household quite a bit, especially when one of the guys is far too high on cocaine and rolling his seat backwards and forwards while he's meant to be on watch out the front of somebody's house. So, it's worth a watch, and it's worth a watch for Jamie Foxx's whole probably 15 minutes total screen time in it, because he is once again, he's very funny, and he's deadpan funny. Like, it's just the way he delivers the lines. And
that's the same with that line in the yogurt shop. It was the way he delivered it was just
it was
perfect,
dead serious when he delivered it. Yeah,
and to not crack himself up
Yeah.
when obviously other people in there are probably laughing as well,
Yeah.
and for him to just like keep a straight face and be a professional at his job. But
because I imagine if he did that
funny and fun.
ad lib that line, and then like people started laughing and they cut, he would turn around and be like, "What?" Like,
yeah,
yeah, he'll just maintain it.
yeah.
I will rewatch Horrible Bosses. I know exactly what was going on in my life as to why I don't remember it. I'm pretty sure I had to turn the film off, actually.
Were you also too high on cocaine?
No.
Pulling your hoodie strings.
I was too low on being married, actually. Fuck. Anyway, that's all I'm saying on that topic because I know exactly what the situation was. Black Panther
We are
2,
throwing out the spicy ones tonight.
Yeah, when I said I was going to get some Coke, Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Oh man, I cried. I cried in the opening thing. Like, just this is a warning for anyone who goes to see it. The opening will make you cry. It is 100% a beautifully shot tribute to the life of Chadwick Boseman, and then it goes to dead silence, and there were tears. I was just like, oh fuck! And it's the silence that kills you. Like, you need something there, but like the whole cinema dead quiet, and it was packed. It was full, and there were like a whole bunch of younger people in, and they like right up until the opening, like the last trailer, and then the screen opens. They were just fucking blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, fucking great cinematic experience, Dan. Like, fuck this. And then they just went dead silent. And then when the movie goes dead silent, you could just hear like, and like there was not a dry eye in the house.
Then you had a great cinematic experience with a shared experience with all the people there with you.
Nah, fuck those idiots.
You're still banging that drum, Dan.
Says the guy he's gonna watch it at home though. Like,
yeah, we are both gonna.
There's a difference, and we'll cover that later. But continue, Thomas.
Anyway, it is the acting in it is brilliant. It is just as good as the first in terms of the way that those actors handle it. It's it loosely touches on the rest of the MCU. It's definitely the footnote of Phase 4, as in, well, not the footnote. It's the bookend. Bookend. That's the word I was looking for. The battle scenes are fantastic. They give a lot more airtime to Umbuku, the leader of the guerrilla tribe up in the north, and he comes into that role really well, and like he actually becomes a bit more of like older brother figure, like father figure kind of thing. Like he's not just I'm the big guy who like wants to take over. He's actually like, no, I care about this country thing. The guy who plays Namor is sensational. And yeah, seeing the winged feet on screen, that was a cool moment.
Little fluttery feet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're actually pretty decent size. Like when he actually goes up and he uses them. And then yeah, it's just like it's a solid film. It's I think the only thing it suffered from, and I read this in a review the next day as well, and I very much agreed with it, was it's a little pulled too many ways because it's really trying to it's trying to give Chadwick his send off that he deserves, but then it's also trying to establish what's going to happen Wakanda wise while bringing in this new pretty serious character into the whole thing. And so it just like it feels a little pulled away. There is that does end with a climactic battle. You meet Ironheart in that's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler.
It was implied in the trailer. It wasn't. I mean, it was heavily implied to a point where it was essentially confirmed that you would see it, but you never actually saw Ironheart from memory. You saw the logo.
No, you see
in the trailer.
Yeah, in one of the trailers, you see her blasting off into the sky, which is a screen rip from the film.
Okay.
Yeah. You
see, wasn't the trailer we reviewed for Trailer Trash then? Because for us,
it was one of like the TV.
It was carved
spots.
It was carved into a table, I think, in the trailer that we.
When she's metal armor, she's cool. She's a cool character, but it's like she's kind of made into what's the Pete favorite MacGuffin. She's kind of made into a bit of a MacGuffin. How
did I end up part of the reference?
You always say that.
MacGuffin?
I think you're the only person I've ever heard really use that term, like not religiously, but like use it all the time.
Old school D&D.
No, I know it's not. It's. I love that you use that. But yeah. So she's kind of used that as in instead of being explored as a new character coming into it, which I think like that's a. I guess not.
But then we're going to get we're not just getting a fucking Origin movie. We're getting an Origin TV series.
Yeah, she gets a TV series. But it's it was cool to see that. But then and you know most of the cast from the original comes back. And it's a solid film, and it's I highly recommend it. But yeah, there's absolute tears in the start. It's the like
good.
It's not just Chadwick Boseman died off screen. Like they say in the Black Panther dies. Like they address it. And then there's like it's the funeral scene. It's like it's one of those cool things where it shows off how different cultures mourn, because you got so many people celebrating, and it's like that kind of thing. Like the celebrating life, which I think is really cool compared to like you think of an Anglo-Christian funeral where it's just like it's somber, it's darks, it's everything. Like everyone's clad in white. It's like it's actually really quite cool. Everyone's dancing, like getting.
You have a look at the video footage of proper African funerals, and that's clearly exactly where it's been taken.
Yeah. You can see they really put some love into it. But then
I'm gonna say Anglo-Saxon funeral morning is fucking all sad, and there's a guy with a censer filled with bloody what do you call it? Smelly stuff. Incense. Wafting it around. Yeah. Speaking in Latin. Carry on.
Yeah. So no, it's very good. The and then there's it's the only thing that drags it down, I guess, is there's a couple of little plot things that just happen too quickly. And it's kind of like, okay, that's fair. But seeing they made a very conscious choice to change a bit of Namor's history based on the comics, and they've changed the way that
because it wasn't palatable for modern society.
No. It's obviously just a bit of a reaction to. So I mean, you can see in all the posters and trailers and stuff, he takes it from like an Aztecian Mayan culture as opposed to like Atlantis, which traditionally is like Greek, and that's where the comic book is
somewhere.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a change on that. The underwater sequences.
That's good. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's for the better. It actually makes it a bit more interesting. Yeah.
Plus, we've already got a Aquaman.
Oh, I mean,
and that's the thing. I think it has to get away from that.
Come on,
but then,
we have an Aquaman that is not is Hawaiian, not Mediterranean.
The actor is, but the inspiration for all of the armor, the fact that he's carrying a trident, the entire line is still very Greek inspired.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but also Aquaman in the comics was blonde hair, blue eyed, and he was nowhere near Mediterranean either. But anyway,
I'm saying yes, there's a level of inclusionism in Aquaman. I'm just saying that it's good that the cultural inspiration is different.
Because obviously there's a heap around the Aquaman that. What's his name's doing? So it's nice. It works better. The way they do it as well works better.
The fucking the costume or lack thereof costume, the additions that he has as a costume looks fucking awesome. Like that whole the
blue and gold necklacing and
the South American, Aztec, Inca, Mayan, all those ancient cultures from there. Like it just works. I think it's a great. It's a compliment to the like all of the African outfits and everything of the Wakanda people. I think it works in conjunction with rather than being completely juxtaposed to it all.
And I guess the best thing that came from Namor being included as well is the way they handled his combat and the way he fights everyone. It is so 3-dimensional as opposed to dudes running on along a flat plane at each other. He's going underwater, up into the air, down onto the ground, underwater again. Like he's just constantly on the move, and it was a really cool little change to some of the other MCU kind of, I guess, anti-hero, however you wanted to describe him.
Land-bound.
But yeah, it's like
villains.
he's on all three. He can be land, sea, or air.
And does he fly in it?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
the fucking
cool,
flies.
cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in the trailer, you see his little fluttery feet lowering him down.
I must have missed the main trailer then, man, because the trailer I watched, we reviewed for Trailer Trash. I don't think I saw.
I think that was like the
final
original one, though.
Yeah, these were later ones. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But
so I haven't seen him fly.
I highly recommend it for those who haven't seen it yet. It is good, but yeah, just be prepared to tear up in the opening. Like it's really hard not to. Yeah.
We need to. Cool.
Go
Sorry,
on.
I'm trying to push us along. I'm just conscious of time. We've got about 10 minutes before we need to take a break. And we're testing a new fucking recording app because the last one was shit. And I feel like a 90-minute single file is pushing our luck a little. So this piece of news we held back from the news block because when it dropped, Dan was ready to just fucking stop everything in life and jump on a podcast recording there and then to discuss it.
I actually was. Like, yeah.
No, I'm not teasing you. It's like it is so fucking frustrating, and I think we're all pretty fucking angry about it. So Henry Cavill. No, you don't care?
I'm not angry about it.
Okay.
I've been laughing this whole time watching that chat go. I'm just I'm actually I'm quite indifferent on it. So but I understand where you guys are coming from.
Well, I'm now indifferent on it because I don't care and I'm not going to watch it.
You're indifferent for the series. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now done. And I think this announcement is going to seriously hurt season 3 ratings.
See, at the very least, stupid. I think that's like the fact that people would have that they'd be, oh, I'm not going to watch the last of it. I think, yeah,
certainly.
I think it's a childish knee jerk reaction. I'm
happy to be a child then.
Okay. Stomp. So the news that we're talking about, folks, is Henry Cavill has announced that he'll be leaving the Witcher project after season 3, which is coming out next year, 2023. And will be handing over to Luke Hemsworth, which I could have accepted were Luke Hemsworth not playing Geralt.
Completely agree.
And that is why I'll definitely watch season 3. I need to see, like, Henry Cavill is just too perfect for Geralt to not watch him close his chapter.
Also, you said Luke, it's Liam Hemsworth.
Oh, Liam, is it Liam? Sorry. Is Luke one of the brothers?
Yes.
I think they all look the same to me. So I like Henry Cavill's too perfect as Geralt to not watch him close out that chapter, but I just don't understand with such a rich tapestry of intellectual property, of backstory, of characters. There are so many really intricately interesting characters in the Witcher universe. And in fact, even the rest of CD Projekt Red has moved off Geralt to tell a new story or refocus the Witcher franchise in the video games to tell new stories about new characters in Witcher 4. So why the fuck, given Henry Cavill's announced that the showrunners are a bunch of pretentious wankers and he needs to leave the project, which is essentially, if you read between the lines on some of his interviews since the announcement, is why he left. Why the fuck wouldn't they write in another character for Liam to play instead of Geralt?
Because I think they go on the exact same route. Like, you guys are saying you won't watch it because Cavill's not playing Geralt. I don't think the casual viewer would watch it if Geralt isn't in it. Geralt's the character they like. That's the story of the guy that it's all centered around. Like, it doesn't, like, I get where you guys are coming from in that. Yes, it's like a recasting sucks. I'm not denying that. A recasting sucks. It's kind of, it breaks the illusion kind of thing. But I think for the casual viewer, which is what Netflix is primarily more concerned about, given that they're run by financials more than anything. Yeah, they don't want to take away, if they can still say, oh, it's still the story of Geralt, then, Joe Blow 3 doors down from me is going to be like, well, fucking whatever. But it's still a long-haired guy playing the same guy.
If you're talking about the casual viewer shouldn't care who the main character is if it's still called The Witcher and there's plenty of witches. If you're still going to run in that world with the similar, I guess, world moving around whatever character is chosen to play, if it's a strong, well-written character, it shouldn't matter if it's handed off to a different character to continue that Witcher world, which would be incredibly interesting. Incredibly interesting, because it's actually, if these fuckhead writers want to do something of their own, this is the path they should be taking. If they want to write and create something of their own in this world, they should be going, you know what? We're going to take this opportunity to create a new main character, and they're
if you
going to
think you can do it better, then goddamn well put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
And write
Fucking
a net
do
new
it.
character and do it better.
Absolutely. Do it. Do
Yeah.
it. 100% put your money where your mouth is. If you think you can do better than the original source material, which is the books and the games, then do it. Do it. Create your own character. Create your own fucking school of witches. Don't make him a fucking wolf, cat, griffin, or serpent. Bear.
Or bear, yeah.
We're covering there. Yep, that's all of them.
I think so.
We're going to get the links in the fourth game. But if you think you can do that, create your own character, create their own personality, create their own backstory, create their future within this world that is written, and have it as a side story to where
and
Geralt,
then weave
Yennefer
and Ciri back into it.
100%.
I completely disagree with the whole recast thing, Tom. Like, we're not talking about Khal Drogo, who is a core character for the ongoing Game of Thrones franchise. To have the actor leave, you need to recast Khal Drogo, because you can't just write him out of the story. He's too crucial, particularly where what's his name left. God, my brain's not working now. Thank you, Jason Momoa.
I didn't even know he was recast.
yeah. So he played Khal Drogo, who is a core character to continuity until season 2 or 3, and then they recast him randomly into another actor. And they did a decent job of glossing over it, and the new actor, the replacement actor, looked close enough that you could get away with it. A bit weird, you had to adjust, but in the end it was fine. But they recast him because Khal Drogo was a fixed character in the story they had to tell, and they hadn't finished telling his story. But when it comes to The Witcher and Henry Cavill playing The Witcher, they've got a whole season of advanced knowledge to write a natural conclusion to his story before bringing Liam in.
But they have an out. They have an out. And this is what I put in the chat. And their out is the time Geralt spends with the Wild Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
This is their out. This is their... Cavill's not around. The character doesn't have to be around because he's not around for the entire story. And actually, you get to like the 4th book or something, and Geralt actually becomes quite a background character to Ciri telling her story. So you have an out for this character not to be around. And you've introduced the Wild Hunt at the end of the second season, which is way earlier than they come into the books. They don't actually enter the books. They're an offhand comment every now and then, but they're not this big bad until
Witcher 3, the video game, really.
No, well, that's where they come in. They get introduced to the plot line far earlier than that, because Yennefer ends up with him, and then Geralt ends up with him, and you have an out. It's just it's. But once again, to Tom's point, you're talking about deep dive here for people that are bought in, and it's not your average Joe Blow that wants.
But your average, I agree with you, by the way, Dan. The average punter doesn't give a fuck. They're watching the series Witcher because a gruff, grunty dude's killing monsters, and it's different, and it's cool, and it's medieval. That's why they're watching it. There's nothing to say that Liam Hemsworth, and I'm the one not drinking, could play any character named Bob fucking Hoskins, and as long as he's waving a sword around like a motherfucker, killing cool CGI monsters, it's still Witcher for the average punter. Yeah. But you get my point, right? Like, it doesn't require a Geralt for continuity. That's not what the average punter's watching it for. It's only us who have bought into the IP that give a shit.
You know what? What pops
I disagree with that, because I think the casual punters now gives a shit because they're invested in the story, and they want that. They like that Geralt character. They don't care who's behind the mask, so to speak.
I can't see how you could believe that
because
an audience don't give a fuck about the actor portraying a character,
as long as his acting is good. And that's the thing. We haven't seen shit from Liam Hemsworth, and that's the thing that's, I think, pissing me off about this whole thing, is that everyone's jumping on his portrayal of Geralt before he's even had a fucking chance to show it.
No, but
we might do a good thing. No, there's been
we're not
absolute
knee-jerk.
I'm not watching the show anymore because they've recast the character.
That's not hang on. Do not twist this around to being an attack on Liam Hemsworth, because that's what you're doing now. That is not what we're saying. We're saying we're not watching it because the showrunners are so arrogant.
No, you said that now.
No, bullshit. I said
the
that.
knee-jerk reactions
rewind,
were
10 minutes.
Cavill's out, Hemsworth's in, I'm not watching the show. That was the knee-jerk reaction at the start,
yep,
which I don't agree with. I'm allowed to not agree with that.
In defense of myself, my reaction was that, and my very first reaction before Henry Cavill came out a few days later and said he's playing Geralt, that was when I was like, no, sorry, I'm done. And
we did talk about that.
It's got nothing to do with what his portrayal of the character is going to be. It's Geralt. Like, I mean, it's The Witcher. I would have watched it if it was Liam Hemsworth from the very beginning. It's not that. It's the poor choice of how they're going to continue the story. There's so many ways that they could make this something fresh and
original,
original, but dare I say, better. Because you know how much I love what it is. Like, if they were going to write an original new character, like, man, they could make it fucking something spectacular. But they're not. They're gonna try. And Paul Liam's now copying all this shit when he hasn't even had a chance. Fucking 18 to 2 years out from when he's going to portray the character. This is the whole Ben Affleck Batman scenario again. That like. He's getting slammed before, like, years out from anyone when anyone's ever going to see his performance as this character. Like, it's this all over again, and I got nothing against him, and I would love to see him as an original character. And
I mean, he was pretty good as a supporting. He was pretty good as a supporting actor in Hunger Games. But I don't.
Sorry, is that not you taking a fucking dig at him?
No, that's me taking a piss out of you, actually, on your comment. But no, I don't.
No, that's just you having a dig and trying to cover it under funniness. Like, no,
not at all. No, bullshit. No, hang on.
I'm watching it. It's just not just us, but I'm watching the whole internet explode about this. I'm
calling you out. I'm calling you out. I'm going back to the chat, because when we talked about this, I very explicitly made the comment when the news first broke, as long as he's not playing Geralt, fine. And then it came out a couple of days later.
My thing is,
you
I
don't
see a problem with
but my problem is not with Liam playing a character in Witcher 3. My problem is not Henry Cavill leaving the franchise. My problem is why Henry's leaving, and the fact that Liam's coming in to play the same character that Henry's playing. Those are my two issues. It's got nothing to do with Liam. It could be fucking anybody, any other actor coming in to play an established character, as if we're all dumb audience members, and we're not just going to notice that the actor's completely changed, but the character's still interacting with all the rest of the supporting cast as if there's no difference.
But it's a character.
It's fucking bullshit. No, it's 2022, man. We can do so much better than that with writing. And what really got under my skin was watching the interviews that came out after with Henry Cavill, where he was pretty directly asked some pointy questions. He was never flat out said, no one ever directly said, did you leave the franchise because the showrunners? But they came pretty damn close. And the questions that he elected to answer and the ones that he elected not to answer made it very clear why he left the show. And it wasn't to play Superman. In fact, he even talked about the fact that his scheduling playing Superman wouldn't have been an issue. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
I'm definitely saying fired. The showrunners deserve to be fired. But based on everything that's going around, like, I don't see why Cavill should leave and they shouldn't. Like, they're the ones who are going behind the scenes and laughing at the source material,
the content, and that's what really got under my skin. Was one of the ex-showrunners saying that there are people,
the ex-producer,
saying that there are writers in the writing room who actively take the piss out of the core content.
Yeah, they laugh at it.
Then why the fuck are you guys on the show?
Yeah. But they just want to get that. They just want to get in that Netflix writing room and get that. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine last episode, whatever the season 3 story arc plays out, right? Last episode, Geralt's on the path and he's traveling along. It's nighttime. He pulls up at a campfire, like hitches Roach to a fucking bush nearby, sits down at the campfire, and here sitting across him is Liam Hemsworth, and he's the Witcher of the Cat School. That was the one of the little side missions in The Witcher 3. And was it Witcher 3 or Witcher 2?
Witcher 3 had a cat school mission.
Okay.
It was like a DLC. It was like,
and you went back and killed one of the School of the Vipers, or who's already been in the show and already died, I think.
No.
Who-
No.
No,
there's
the
been no
option
Vipers.
you got to meet Letho.
It
Yeah,
was Letho. That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry.
I can't remember if it's Witcher 2 or Witcher 3, but there's a side mission where you end up at a campfire and he talks to a Witcher from the School of the Cat. And this Witcher then gives him a side quest to go off to do. Like, imagine if like the pre-credit sequence of the last episode of season 3 of The Witcher is Geralt sitting down with Liam having this chat. Geralt goes off to do his side mission in quotations, and then we continue the main story off with this School of the Cat Witcher, which is Liam. Like, imagine.
There's 10 different ways you could bring him in. He could be.
Oh, it would be.
Jaskier, I mean, because of the timey-wiminess of the way the story's been unfolding, Jaskier could pop back up after an absence with Geralt and say, sorry, you wouldn't let me in your pants, so, and bring in a Witcher character that he's been in a relationship for the last 12 months in the showtime. You could easily have Jaskier be the bridge between the two Witchers. And then bring him. Okay, it's a bit ham-fisted. I'm just saying, there's 10 other ways that you could introduce that character other than, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers timey-wimey fucking golden beams shoot out of his head and his arm sockets, and he,
But that's what
regenerates.
I'm saying. If you had a scene where Cavill sits down with him and hands over the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, as well. And then Geralt walks off to do something, and then you're now on the path with the other Witcher. I mean, yeah, there's lots of ways they could do it. It could be something
all
amazing.
Of them better than the one that they're doing.
They've chosen. That's exactly it. It could be something amazing that they could create, and it's just it doesn't feel like that's what's going to happen. It feels.
I know
like,
you're ambivalent, Tom, but
it feels like we're going to get a season 3 with Cavill. We're going to get one season with Hemsworth, and then it's going to get canned. That's what it feels like.
Considering Cavill originally said that he was in for the full 8 seasons and that it was all mapped out, and it's clearly not all mapped out.
Well, I think it has been mapped out. I think these guys in the writers' room have thrown out the map. That's what it more sounds like from what they're saying. Yeah,
I agree with that.
I can't hold my bladder any longer. I'm taking my break.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Give me 10 seconds of footage to work with, Dan, you bugger.
He's out. He's always right out. You know that. He doesn't wait for you.
No, or anyone.
Hey. Hey.
I think we're back. I'm not sure.
This time, yes. This time we are.
We are. Yeah, well, you are still tied to the chair, aren't you? For the last time. All right, let's do beer 3 and then spotlight. Yes.
Yes, chef.
Sure.
Cool.
I'll go first because I'm pouring.
I'll go because Tom's pouring. White Bay into the Rabbit Hole Hazy IPA, 6.8%. My little screen is up there now,
bro.
so that
just slow
catches.
down.
I'm trying to get it out in good time. All right.
That's also what she said.
Did you get all that?
Into the rabbit hole. Hazy IPA. And also, that's what she said.
Yes. Hazy IPA, 6.5%. Mosaic Mosaic Lupamax, Falconer's Flight, Citra, and Galaxy.
Falconer's Flight, I don't think I've heard of.
Yep. We use
That's what they used to use in the Falcon beer.
Yeah, Millennium Falcon. The Holgate Millennium Falcon was Falconer's Flight. This is what it says on the back of the can. Here's a cool little number featuring some awesome hop combination of Mosaic Lupamax, Falconer's Flight, Citra, and Galaxy. Thank you, White Bay, for a sensible beer description on the back of your can.
It also says orange juice notes abound in the
not on my can. It doesn't.
In the untapped description, it has exactly what you wrote.
Like
plus that.
Literally, there's too much clear. Literally, it just says that first part. Anyway,
it's a NEPA.
It's a hazy IPA.
Is there a difference between a hazy IPA and a NEPA?
NEPAs are meant to be thicker. Yeah.
Go on,
New
Tom,
England IPA for those listening at home.
It's like watching him sneeze.
Veins are popping out. Yeah. If that is what we're going with,
Venus.
then this it's quite thin. Like there's a lot of hop character there. Like all of those hops are really popping. Mosaic is taking the front seat in all of it because it's a Looper Max too, so it's a really concentrated hop character. It's oaty. It's a hazy IPA and with a lot of hops at 6.8.
Oaty hazy IPA. That's interesting.
Well, that's what makes the haze. They've all got oats in them. Heaps of oats.
Yeah, but in the NEPA experience, all you get is juice and burn, like hop burn, resiny burn. I understand that the haze protein comes from oats, but you rarely taste the oats.
Oh, you definitely do. If you know what you're tasting for, you definitely do. It's always on that.
And it depends on the brewery. Like,
so whether they want it to take center stage, I would presume.
It's not about taking center stage. Like I always get it once you've swallowed.
Just let it through the keeper.
Okay. Yep.
this whole episode is going to devolve otherwise into one line.
That exhale afterwards, that first breath out, is where the oat character really blows through the nasal passages and everything for me. But also I regularly taste this shit on a daily basis, so it's one of those
you
things
identify pretty quickly. You can tease apart the flavors better.
Well, yeah, what it is exactly. That's
why I was disappointed when I was looking at the Cicerone course that they don't do the same sort of taste training that you do for a sommelier, where you don't get little dropper bottles of the core flavorants that you expect to taste in a good sommelier course to say,
I didn't know they did that in sommeliers. That's interesting.
So it's about training the palate to be able to identify flavors in a simple context so that when you get the complexity of a proper wine, you can tease it apart because you know what you're looking for. I'm giving a visual reference to olfactory senses, but you know what I'm saying. Whereas you don't really get that you'd need a concentrated but still drinkable, like you'd need a drinkable concentrate of each of the individual hops that you're likely to encounter on a regular basis to be able to understand what that particular hops brings to the table. And then you'd have to do the same with malt. And then you'd have to run it through all the permutations of yeast factors, like
fermentation temperatures, and
look, there's always variance. But I mean, look, a master sommelier will be able to tell you not only where was the wine from, but also where the grapes, whether they grew on a north-facing or a west-facing fucking hill, in what temperature, in what climate, in what season, in what part of the country.
Yeah, so I'm really glad there's not that many of those wankers in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive, though. You have to admit, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
For the sommeliers, I'm not talking about the Cicerones. I'm talking about sommeliers. For you to be able to drink any
wankers.
But for you to be able to drink any kind of beverage and have a palate that's developed enough to be able to distinguish that amount of information accurately, they actually say that the world's best sommeliers have a genetic advantage that most people will just never be able to taste that specifically. Anyway, we're way off topic. Sorry. Thoughts on the beer? It's oaty. Well, that's where we got to.
It's oaty. It's you know what? The more that I drink, because it's a big can. It's a 440. I'm pretty sure it's a 440. I wasn't actually going to drink the whole thing because it is 6.8%. But you know what? I think I'm going to drink the whole thing because it's tasty and it doesn't feel like
a 4.75.
Let's go 4.25. It's not perfect.
Fucking tough word out there.
It's definitely very thin. Like that's the one thing that does get it.
Detracts from it. Yeah, okay.
And you know what? This beer would, and I know any beer people are going to yell at me right now.
Bring it on.
The thing that this could really be, like, really boost this beer right now, how this is made with this hop combination, is a bit of bitterness. It's just a nice little kick of bitterness in there.
It just needs to be a luscious fruit bomb mouthfeel, like you're eating a pillow that's made out of fruit tingles. Fucking idiots.
There you go. There's another title for you, Pete. A pillow that's made out of fruit tingles.
We need one or two words, not 17 in our titles. But yes.
But that's exactly it. It has all these really nice qualities that it's just the back end is really lacking. Really, really lacking. And what it's lacking is just some nice bitterness. Just to wander off into the night. It's just it just wants that bit because it's just fruit, juice, oatiness, done, bang, done. It's like it's blown its load and walked out the door. That's there's just nothing to
Just
hug
leaning
you.
into it.
There's nothing to hug you through the night.
Oh God.
Such base humor. Oh my God.
Oh well, I'm sorry.
Cool.
Hey,
4.25.
I've thrown some
out of
I've thrown
5.
some zingers this time, and I don't usually
You have,
do it.
and you're
so-
usually the clean one in the group.
yeah, I'm usually
so.
the sensible one. So
Yeah.
it's been one of
Everything's
those couple of
relative.
weeks, man. It's been one of those couple of weeks. It's just I'm not even going to say it's been one of those weeks because it's been a couple of weeks combined. They just need to be inappropriate for a little while. Thomas, what have you got? Yeah, and because I can't hit anybody with one of those, so
Yeah, Tom got his Mjolnir out again, just because you know 90% of our listeners listen, don't watch. So we need to.
Shall I describe it to you?
The
Would you
audio
like me to fetch you a
descriptive.
box. Okay, no, we're stopping that now. I am drinking. I've already written in for you, Peter, because I'm very nice to you tonight. The next in the Hazy Days series by Garage Projects, because I like a bit of consistency on this little podcast we do. I like
Can you
doing
hold
a
that up
recurring
again?
series.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah,
chef.
no, it is. You've written in the notes that it's number 576859, but
Yeah, I
actually,
made a little joke for you. Do you like that
it's
one?
actually number 13. It's got a number,
know.
apparently.
Oh
according
no,
to-
they stopped putting the numbers on the can. That's why
Okay.
I was making that joke.
They've loaded it up in Untapped with a number. That's all.
There we go. So this one they've used Simcoe Strata, Vic's Secret, and Idaho 7. Yee-hoo! Pow, 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 pow. I don't know why, but Idaho 7 always makes me think Cowboys.
I don't know why either.
I don't know. No, I tend to agree with him. Anything with Idaho, like that just makes me think of like wagon circles and shit. It's just
You
like-
have died of dysentery.
It's the survival aspect of Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
You just
the
totally
dysentery-
reminded me of a
dysentery
million ways to
download.
die in the West. The guy that
Yeah,
dies from the squirts.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done definitely a fair whack of these on this series. I do love the Hazy Day
You
series.
do.
I love not a single hop, but I love like just a hazy power series. The brewers get to play with different combinations every time. I think that's fun. I've been trying to encourage my brewers to do it more often, but they don't.
It is right up the alley of what I was just talking about in terms of training the palate, right? Because you could get 4 or 5 of these with different combinations of hops. I presume it's probably a very similar New England or a hazy pale base beer.
Yeah.
And so the flavor
the same
differences
base beer
between
and they
2 or
just change the
3
hops. Yeah.
will be the hop differences.
Look, if you are looking for me to now dissect each individual hop I'm tasting in this beer, you are shit out of luck, son, because despite Liam telling me to do my Cicerone training, I often manage to find an excuse. Like,
keep finding
oh
those
no, my
excuses.
ankle's broken. Tommy hasn't been broken for 4 years. Oh no,
It's a
Dingo's
really
ate my
badly
baby.
knitted
I've got to
back.
go. See you later. Just anything will do. But this actually has that. I think it's probably going to be quite similar to what Dan's having in terms of that. It's got that hoppiness, that grassiness coming through. But this one does have a nice bitterness at the back. It doesn't just. What was the term you used? Blow your load and walk out? No, this lingers. This lingers. It carries through the
Stays
whole
for
way.
Cuddles.
Yes. It's
Cooks you breakfast in the morning.
Oh, it doesn't do that. Don't be stupid, Peter. It's a beer. It can't cook. A ridiculous notion. No. It's got a. This one's, I think, the freshest of the. I think this is pretty fresh. This was packaged. No. Taking a little while to go. It's 2 months old. It's got about as much of a hop punch as that Gigawatts had in terms of like the green hop burn. So, whatever deeds we're throwing into that, like, how dare you taste that fresh? Because you'll die. You'll die. 100% you'll die. That's what will happen to you. But yes, this has got all the stone fruit. But I think it's got that quite a nice bitterness coming through the back. and I will give it a solid 4. It's not the best one they've done, but it's cool. And again, the eyes. I do like. That's the thing I like about this. They always keep the eyes in.
It's cool. I like that label.
That is consistent. Consistency is key, boys, girls. Well done. Yeah, number 13. There we go. Unlucky for some, lucky for me because I get to drink it.
Lucky 13. Cool. Let's move into a spotlight. So this was our shit talking on a chat channel, and it spawned into an idea. I think, or did I?
No, this was the end of the post recording last time. We had this decision.
That's right. So we're
going to hear a funny story about this, Peter?
Sure, please regale me with your tale of woe.
So we set, for those who are playing at home, we've picked a movie each from the 90s that we feel were underrated, and then we went and did a rewatch of them and made our notes and whatever. I went analog with my note making on this. I wrote down notes.
I was going to say you were going to VHS.
Fucking pull the whole VHS out. What did you have on VHS?
I walked up to 89, punched Ben in the face, stole his VHS player. And,
I'm glad Dan and I interpreted that the same way at the same time, though.
That's funny.
Well, he does have at least one of these movies.
Went more analog than a VHS. I went back to pen and paper to write down my notes as I was watching these. Let me say that I did not rent them off streaming services. I found them through
available through other sources.
Dark Magic was used to find these. And I watched them all over the last week, and then I maybe put the notes on the other pieces of paper I was throwing out, and so I threw out all my notes this morning when I was cleaning up the living room.
You dope.
I have a vague memory of what I thought of. I watched all three again.
That's all that matters. So can we talk? Can we talk about? Can we name the three? So the spotlight is to talk about underrated 90s action movies, and by underrated, what I meant when I floated this idea initially was movies that didn't get a whole lot of attention when they were first released, but were deserving, were well made enough, and had an interesting enough plot line that they were deserving of more attention than they got.
And I think I'm the only one that picked one of those.
Okay, so this is going to be the discussion we're going to have, right? Because I disagree. I respectfully disagree. But you did pick a pretty obvious one, and I'm not sure that it.
Well, let's name our films one by one. Dan, starting with you, because you apparently you've got the gold medal winner.
By the way, Dan, if you go back to the recording last podcast episode, you named a different movie. You didn't name Demolition.
Oh, what was the other movie? That's the only reason I didn't go with that, because I couldn't fucking remember what it was.
It's in the other show notes. Hang on, give me a second. I'll tell you.
Just help me.
I'm not here to help you.
Thought it was
I said in the chat I didn't fucking remember which one it was.
and then you
call me out on something that I actually don't remember from. It doesn't matter. Anyway, but while Pete's looking that up, so I've dropped in our show notes here so everybody can see. Well, not everybody, us three can see. The rest of you can get fucked, and you can listen to us say what they are. So I picked Demolition Man, which is Wesley Snipes, Sylvester Stallone, and Sandra Bullock movie from somewhere around 1996.
I think it was
93.
96.
No, 93.
Desperado was your original pick, by the way.
God damn it.
Fuck. Fuck. That's such a better film.
It is. Way better film. Yeah. I agree with Tom. God damn it.
But it wasn't underrated either. Desperado was big when it was released.
I don't think it was. I think Desperado... Let's talk about Desperado first. I think Desperado was one of those ones where...
I haven't watched it, Dan. Fuck. In like 8 years.
Let's talk about the movie that was not on the list.
It's at the height of the 90s Tarantino kind of thing. And then Robert Rodriguez comes in and drops Desperado. El Mariachi got no coverage whatsoever, which was a few years beforehand. And then Desperado hits the scene. And then just from there on out, it just trickles this whole, not copycat thing, but it's this whole Tarantino, Rodriguez, this fucking hell ride that gets made. Match. Yeah, it's like, that's exactly what it was. These guys like beating this shit backwards and forwards. And it's like a couple of other people, the ball boys want to get involved at times, so they're fucking throwing zingers out from the side. The umpires throwing one down as well. So this whole period in the late 90s, early 2000s is just peppered with those really wild movies like Desperado and Hellride and Pulp Fiction and all of those. So it's those ones we will
Spy
cover
Kids
later
too.
on. Absolutely not. We will talk about these things later on.
Oh, man, I could really go. I'd love to do a dive of the El Mariachi trilogy.
We could also do a directorial
Let's do that.
review of Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah. I need to rewatch the El Mariachi.
But then you'd have to watch Spy Kids too.
Yeah.
Planet Terror. There's a lot of bad ones in that list.
There is.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway,
Hilarious.
the movie I picked the last week when we brought
We're
this
talking
topic up
about
again
this,
and said we need to record. So what fucking movie do you pick? I don't remember the one I picked, so this is the one I'm going with. Demolition Man, Wesley Snipes, Sylvester Stallone, Sandra Bullock, and several others that cannot pull off the top of my head. Dennis Leary, yes. Dennis Leary plays the rebellion leader, and they all go to Taco Bell. It made
Pizza Hut.
No, not Pizza Hut.
Taco Bell / Pizza Hut. Yeah. If you buy an Australian streamed copy, in fact, if you buy a copy from anywhere other than American launch, or if your Black Magic downloads a copy from any other international source, they really badly overdub Pizza Hut over the top of Taco Bell every time they say it.
Nope.
And they replace the logo in that scene.
Reject your reality, Peter, and implement my own. Sorry, that is an Adam Savage quote, and I'm sticking with it.
Cool.
It's always been Taco Bell, and it always will be Taco Bell because they come to Taco Bell. Anyway, doesn't matter. It made 150.
They won the franchise wars.
It made 150 million in the box office, and it cost the loose budget of like 35 million. It goes from 45 million to 75 million budget. Nobody can decide on what this budget is, but that is what I pulled off the internet 30 minutes ago.
And it's got a 6.7 rating on IMDb, which is actually it's not a terrible rating. 6.7.
And I think it actually, other than the pure toxic masculinity and huge amount of sexism and Sylvester Stallone getting sexually assaulted, thank you very much.
He did get sexually assaulted.
Did get sexually assaulted by today's standards. He did not consent
to brain rape.
He did not consent to that kind of touchy-feely. Outside of that, it's actually a very decent movie. It's got some really cool action scenes. It's got a good premise. It really falls into that.
It's well acted.
Corny,
Wesley
bad
Snipes
90s.
Is great.
Yeah, and I cannot hear the American national anthem without seeing Wesley Snipes singing and Home of the Brave, play ball and sticking the shock stick down the camera. That comes into my head every time I hear the American national anthem, and it's going till the end of time.
Talk me through the toxic masculinity. Is it just because it's two guys just beating the fuck out of each other and everyone else that gets in their way? Or
I mean, it's a 90s action film.
That's not an answer. It's like defining the word by saying the word again. That's not an answer.
Well, it is because it leans into that. When Wesley Snipes was asleep, he got trained in all the combat and the martial arts and everything like that. And then Sylvester Stallone gets knitting. And then it really
was funny.
Oh no, I think it's funny, and I think it actually was a little bit before its time because it's 1993.
Don't worry, I can sort that with a needle and thread later. Oh my god, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, that too. But then after he has that sexual assault encounter with Sandra Bullock, he wakes up in the morning and has knitted her something, and so it's actually that really good thing that they're like back in 93, and it's Sylvester Stallone, like one of the two biggest action movies heroes of the fucking time. Him and Arnie.
And I love the references to President Arnie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of meta.
He was governor a few years or several years after that. But
they also fucking hated each other in the 90s too.
Yeah,
they were big time.
Constantly taking
Stallone and Schwarzenegger, they fucking hated each other.
And there's some funny references, some very tangential references. There's an Arnie film, I can't remember which one, where they end up fighting through a video store and a Stallone poster gets torn down by the bad guy.
Last action hero?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, carry on. I didn't get the toxic masculinity.
I think it's a poster of Cobra.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think it's that side of it. The whole thing, the fucking title, Peter, Demolition Man. Like the whole thing is about over the top 90s buff, gruff, masculine.
But I reckon you can find those films today. I mean, Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock isn't overly sexualized in this particular movie. In fact, if anything, it was her that committed the weird mind rape of Stallone.
No, but I'm not talking about her. I'm not talking about her and the feminine presence, the female presence in there. I'm just talking about the.
How is it different from Grey Man, which we reviewed recently and said was great? It's two buff fucking guys beating the shit out of each other throughout the whole film.
It's the just the way it's spoken about and presented. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or anything like that. It's like it's the over swearing to get the toilet paper. Which I think is fucking hilarious.
I thought the whole film was great. I didn't see. So when you said at the start toxic masculinity, I was genuinely asking what was toxic about it, because I didn't see the sexism. I did definitely see in the Phantom.
Oh
we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to that. I just don't think if they would make that movie today, as much as I still love it and I don't have a problem with any of it, and I think the characters are great and I think they're well written, they're all falling into it. I think Sandra Bullock is fantastic. The fucking little dude that played Deuce Bigelow and the other guy that was his...
He's so young.
The other guy that was his his cop partner that I know from a lot of things as
Bratt.
Well. Yeah.
And who's the little guy?
Zack Snyder. No, Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider. It is Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider is a carrot. Rob Schneider is the stapler.
And it was that thing about them laughing about Stallone not knowing the three seashells and then him just going, come on, guys. Like that look where if you carry this on, I'm going to beat the living snot out of you. Yeah. Like, it was just those little things. But it wasn't anything over the top and bad. I just don't think that too many people would have the balls to make it these days, as where it could be very well made these days if they wanted to revisit that sort of thing. And it would be fantastic taking a character from a 90s action movie to this time period. And if somebody had the guts to do it and to have them socially comment on some of the outrageous things that happen in 2022, the year we're actually in, it would be quite interesting to see someone's take on that. I don't think anybody will have the balls to do it, but it would be cool.
I didn't see any issues with the film at all. In fact, out of the three films, it was probably the only one it didn't have any red flags.
No, it didn't. It was still a pretty safe Hollywood movie.
Out of the three.
100%.
You could get away with making that film today and it wouldn't be cancelled through cancel culture. I don't think.
Maybe the potential brain rape scene, but yeah.
It was a horrible scene and it was you might be right. You might be right.
I actually think that scene would definitely not fly today, especially with the ongoing what we were talking about in chat a few weeks ago about like the rise of VR and AI and everything, like going into your ads and seeing all that kind of shit. Like it definitely wouldn't fly these days.
But I don't know. So I responded the same way you did in terms of so to put context for anyone that hasn't seen Demolition Man, and this is my response, by the way, which is why I'm talking through it. Sandra Bullock propositions Sly Stallone. So the characters say, hey, violence often, raises a heightened state of mental arousal. Would you like to have sex with me? And Stallone's character says, yes, I would. Let's have sex.
I'd love to have sex with you, Sandra Bullock.
That was more Arnie. Yeah.
That's a lot of Arnie there. Yeah. Says yes, and she said, okay, I'll be right back. And she comes dressed in a little 90 negligee thing and hands him a fucking towel.
I love the way she puts the towel on him and he looks at the towel.
What the fuck is this for? And then puts the headset on.
Always know where your towel is. It's
so
one rule of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
So, but my point is, from his perspective, yes, that was unexpected and without consent, because he had consented to actual sex and didn't expect the mental sex. From Sandra's perspective and from social normality at the time, in context of the show, she had propositioned him and he had consented to exactly what they were doing. The fact that there was a disconnect may in practice have been mental rape, if you like, but she says to him, would you like to have sex? And he says yes. That's consent. The fact that they're on different parallel universes of what sex means?
I'm not sure that holds up in a court of law, but...
No, but this is not a court of...
Okay.
Especially in current New South Wales standards, that does not hold up at all.
No.
So, yep.
They had different definitions for the word sex.
Yes.
I think
Definitely.
was the point. They were both innocent. That's the point I'm making. They were both were both doing the right thing from their own perspective.
Should have led with that.
That was a scene, a product of its time, and the movie still held up great. I think the even the special effects still hold up great. I mean, I love that.
It's the least blue screeny badness out of the three.
Yeah, the whole final fight scene and the frozen Wesley Snipes that gets shattered. Like I think it's all great, and that's the height of.
Bless you.
I got the mute button on right in time.
Nicely done.
I think that was the height of Wesley Snipes' craziness. Like before he started to go the lead role.
If you're talking about Wesley Snipes in that movie, I'd probably give one of my toes off my left foot for that vest, jacket, collar. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
The bright orange singlet underneath the overalls.
It leads right into like the Cyberpunk 2770 that we just got. Like it's such an aesthetic that still holds up, and I think that's the big thing. It was a future that was only roughly, I can't remember what year it's actually meant to be set in the future, but it can't be too far forward.
2032, I think.
Okay,
but it's so
wild.
2032. Yeah,
and in comparison to like we've got way more technology, and I mean we do have and this is actually one of the spotlights on our lists. We've got things that turn on our lights by voice. We've got video calls. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. Thankfully,
there was a couple of articles on how much Demolition Man predicted current technology.
There's this whole university papers written on the same thing for Star Trek. Almost all of the technology in Star Trek is now real. But that's another topic we should cover at some point. Yeah, and that was 5 years before
movie.
Blade.
Yeah, so he went basically from this to then being a leading man or a leading action hero on his own.
So the movie he made just before Demolition Man was White Men Can't Jump, and he was a co-lead in that.
Woody Harrelson was the lead character. Yeah, so yeah.
I guess. So yes, do you want to move into the second one?
Is that me or you?
That's you.
Me time.
Tom. Yeah, I didn't think we want to end with that one. I think we're sandwiched in the middle.
Slam Evil. The Phantom. Fuck, like I remember as what was it? 96? 96.
We were all so innocent.
We were.
It does not stand up to today's society.
No,
that's for fucking
shit.
sure.
Fuck me. Like I honestly haven't watched that film in years.
I still like the Phantom.
But I have that and this
it's
is
so
thing.
bad.
This is the
Indiana
thing
Jones and the Last Crusade meets bad blue screen.
It's well past that.
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's that rose-colored glasses view of it when I was a kid watching it. Like, I used to make phantom rings out of cardboard and like a key ring and like go around and like, I'd love to punch and leave like a little mark on their head. That's so cool. I used to, Dad had finished the paper. I'd always go and read the little comic strip of Lee Falk's Phantom. Like it was, it was that, but it was just like, oh God, that has not aged well. Aged like a carton of milk in a summer sun that's been left out for like months. It's not good. But that said, there are funny things to it. So I looked up as well. You can look up, there's a website that shows you it's like the tropes. It shows you every trope that a film uses. It's fucking hilarious for this. and it's the same for actually the next film, Soldier, that we will talk about. They're tropey as fuck, but that is, for me, that's the joy of 90s films. They were just like, for the majority, they were just like, there were so many tropes that people just went by. Like, your film wouldn't do well if you didn't have a Wilhelm scream in it. Like, if you didn't have someone being thrown off a bridge to that scream, then don't release it. It's not worth it. Like, it's just going to bomb. But I mean, Three Skull Laser, looking back on it now.
Like, the special effects are horrendous. The stunt doubles are horrendously obvious, but then the stunt double, there's sequences in Terminator 2 where the stunt double for Arnold Schwarzenegger on the Harley are horrendously obvious too. So you kind of have to cut them some slack. That was special effects of the time, right? And that's why I likened it to...
It's 96, think about it.
That's why I likened it to Indiana Jones and the Lost Ark. Or, sorry, of the
Last Crusade?
Last Crusade. Yeah, because it was made in the same era. It's got about the same special effects. It actually reminded me more of The Princess Bride than anything else for some reason. I don't know why, but more because it was that pop-out swashbuckler style of fighting.
It's that old school feel. And so, for those who haven't seen it, so the Phantom, for those quick rundown for those who haven't seen it, the Phantom is the Goes Two Walks. He's that little strip of comics you used to see in the Sunday paper comics in the telly
A
long time ago. So it's it's a hereditary title that is passed from father to son traditionally, and he comes about because the original one, he was beset on by pirates. He was the last survivor. He picks up by... So I think they changed this for the film as well.
He swore revenge against the pirates.
But in the comic books, the comic strip, it was always based in Africa, but they moved it to Southeast Asia for the film. So there was like a little bit of... It was
probably just a filming licensing issue that they...
It was a bit of a relocation and thing, but...
although in the 90s, there might have been conflict in Africa that... Who knows?
It was something, but they chose to relocate it, and then it's...
It was still a jungle, and it was still definitely an African-style jungle.
Yeah, it's the guy versus pirates, basically. He's that's the whole thing. And you used to get but that's the thing. You used to get 4 panels, and that was your fix for the week. And then you had to wait for the next Sunday paper to go, oh, he's moved another 4 steps. Okay, all right. So we're watching a game of chess very, very slowly.
There's some amazing actors in the Phantom movie, though. Like Billy Zane as Phantom.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, as a bit part, she's almost a supporting. She's not even the female lead.
No,
it's Christy Swanson.
But I think Catherine Zeta-Jones at that time was not an unknown, but
she certainly wasn't.
She was a rising star. That was what I was trying to go for. Yeah. That was well.
I'd like to believe it's entrapment.
I was going to say
leading up to that.
I'm sure that's what put her on the map for all the wrong reasons.
I'm sure it was. Yes.
And then you've got Christy Swanson.
We will cover that in our future episode of 90s trailers.
Yes, we definitely will. This is after Christy Swanson played Buffy in the original Buffy the Vampire Hunter.
And then you've got the dude who's always the bad guy, who
James
plays
Remar.
James
Remar. The mustache tweedling 1930s.
And you've got Treat Williams as the big bad, who is a dead ringer. A dead ringer to me. I kept thinking it was the actor that played the
Justin
good guy
Hammer?
in The Princess Bride.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I don't know why. That's just
Carl
Lewis.
Lewis, how do you say his last name?
Day-Lewis? No, different guy.
The thing that I've got to, for all the shit that is the Phantom,
Harry
Ooles. There's horrible 1930s era sexism in it. There is
okay, I've got to take issue with that. So that was my initial reaction, and I said that to you guys while I was watching it, right? Because there's a sequence right at the start where the female lead, Diana Palmer, Christy Swanson, is in a dinner party, and this guy's flirting with her. She's obviously not interested in him, and he literally just walks up and tongue kisses her out of fucking nowhere, and she just kind of pulls away and continues the conversation as if it never happened. And I'm like, holy fuck, you can't put that in a movie. And that's coming from me, right? But
this is the thing. It's like when you're now looking back and trying to do a era-based film, how much are you permitted to get away with before you go, hey, okay, that may have been a thing of the era, but it's still not cool. It's not a thing.
It's not cool, but I want to reposition this. It's not. To me that felt like, one, it's sexual assault. That's how it would be seen today, and it's probably how it would have been seen back then if anyone had reported it. But it was not sexist, and I say that because if you keep watching, 20 minutes later, Catherine Zeta-Jones does literally the exact same fucking thing to Billy Zane in the first scene that they're both in together. Billy Zane's just standing there having a conversation with both Christy Swanson and Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Catherine just literally walks up and tongue kisses him. And he just like, oh, that never happened, and delivers the next fucking line.
Yeah.
So they're both sexual assaults, but at least it wasn't sexist in that there was balance in the horrible sexual assaults in that movie.
It's where Josh Brolin just walks in, balance in all.
Saw a good
speaking of big things that are purple, though, how fucking good is that
costume? The suit is great.
Considering it's before
the suit is
advanced tech,
one of
the
best comic book based suits I've ever 100%. Fucking seen, and I will stick to that until that day I die.
Yeah,
the day I
completely agree.
The skulls like that are like etched into it. It is
the screen printed lycra. Yeah, those spandex.
And the fact that Billy Zane shaved his head to wear it, so they shot all the scenes with him with hair first, and then everything when he's in the suit. It's him with a shaved head. He committed to the role so badly. He's like,
wow,
skull cap. He's just like, go right to the skull.
You know what I thought was really funny is right at the end, the last sequence in the movie, the character played by Christy Swanson's basically, and he are saying goodbye, and you know, you get the strong vibe that they're going to get married and live happily ever after, but she's got to go back to New York, and she says, take off the mask, and names his character, his secret identity, Kit
Walker.
And so two things. First of all, Catherine Zeta-Jones is only 50 meters away. So he's revealing his secret identity to two people when he pulls his mask off. And the second thing, he's got the purple skull cap, and he's got the black mask, and he's got black eye paint.
Yeah.
And you see him reach back and it cuts, and now it's a two-piece mask that he can actually take off, because all the sequences where you can see his mask, it's a one-piece cowl. And I don't know how they're getting it on, but it's not as easy to pull off as I'll just pull it off. And
he's sliding in the butthole of that suit, man. He's sliding in the butthole and pulling the black trunks over the top.
So the cowl is a separate piece. It's a rubber, like it looks like a rubber or a silicon skull cap.
Yeah, but I mean, it's no different to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, where he reaches back and it's fucking Velcro from the crown of his head to the fucking nape of his neck, and he pulls.
But when you actually look at behind the scenes thing, it's the mask goes under the suit and it's all glued on. Yeah.
But and that's the whole
grease paint just not being there was hilarious.
Yeah, that's the whole Batman Returns. No fucking black eye makeup. Tears the whole fucking bat cowl off 2 seconds before, and he's got fucking black eyes. That's what's so good about Pattinson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the Phantom. I thought that held up the least out of the three. Was it underrated?
It is definitely one of those ones where it's like, that is rated highly because I watched it when I was 8, and
no one thinks less of you for calling that out as your underrated 90s movie.
No, I think Tom has a very good standing here, and I will 100% back him up on this. It's an underrated movie because that was a printed suit before Marvel or DC even thought about printing any fucking thing on a lycra spandex fabric. Like Superman's was all printed, Captain America's all printed now.
Also, it changes color. It changes color ever so slightly if you actually watch it because it's like in full daylight. It is like underneath your Falcon. In behind your shoulder, Pete, it's that kind of like lilac-y purple, but then it goes to like a deep blue to a deep purple.
I think that might have just been a side effect of the printing technology at the time. I don't know that was an intention. That they didn't have chameleon paint at the time, and that's not what they would have printed. I think it might have just been a side effect. It's brilliant. I unquestionably, it's brilliant. The suit is cool. The one. But
he's got no diagonal stripes on his trunks. I don't like that. Phantom had diagonal stripes on his trunks. Billy Zane wears black trunks. Don't like it. But anyway, continue.
Superman, Batman, all of the new costume technology, that's not printed on lycra, Dan. those suits are Technic fabrics, and they're 3D embossed S's on Superman's costume.
Sure.
It's
whatever
if you've ever
it
seen
is,
behind the scenes,
without the fucking Phantom, they would never have gotten there. All right, that's my point.
And it also makes the line in 2000 X-Men hurt even more when he goes, "What would you prefer, yellow spandex?" Yes, I fucking still do, Scott Summers. I do want to see Wolverine yellow spandex.
We were in the emos 2000s by then, and everybody was wearing black leather. All right.
The third and final was my pick, which is Soldier. Which I actually think was probably the least exposed out of the three movies at the time.
Yeah, definitely. I never remember hearing about this film.
And having rewatched it for the podcast, I think it stands up pretty well. It's not the most original.
The one that put me to sleep.
It's not the most original, but as far as
can I say why it put me to sleep?
Please.
The only thing and this is probably the biggest flaw for this film is, and it's not. Sorry, not for this film. The biggest flaw of this type of film with this type of lead character is because they're meant to be so stone cold, stone faced, genetic soldier thing. I do not engage with them at all. Like even the scene where he like gets kicked out of the camp and then he cries in his little tunnel that he lives in and makes his little. It was like, even that I was like, yep, all right. It's just so hard to engage with someone that's just, it's literally like looking at a brick wall. I think
they even could have done without the tear. They didn't need to humanize him. It was still a good story without
it. I actually think I think it would have been better if he hadn't had this weird moment of human connection. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, your training all breaks because one British guy was like, oh, I wish you could have stayed.
Pertwee plays the best fucking Alfred in Gotham. That's all I can see him as. And he's a lot younger here. Yeah.
It was
he's so great. Yeah. He was so great as Alfred in Gotham. Look,
but this one, it was.
Kurt Russell is fucking buff.
So let's talk numbers first. So
okay.
Yep,
we didn't talk numbers for Phantom.
Did we? So the Phantom was somewhere between $35 million box office and $45 million budget. Soldier with Kurt Russell, who would have taken home still a pretty little package in whatever year it was made, was a $14 million budget, which is $14 million box office, which is questionable because everything that I've looked up said $14 million domestically and somewhere between $5 and $6 million internationally, but then they still kept calling $14 million box office.
That's weird.
Why I've got a question mark there.
Well, Black Adam made $150 million in America and $350 million globally. So I would have thought the global number would be much bigger.
Yeah, it was like one website I looked at that had the exact same number domestically and then the same number internationally. So exactly same number. So like down to the cent, same number. So there was some skewy shit going on there. So somewhere around $14 million box office and $60 million budget.
Oh, so, I mean, there is, that said, that spaceship that lands on the trash planet and that flyover, I thought that was a pretty good spaceship.
It reminded me of Aliens in terms of the special effects quality.
Well, it's unlicensed. It's a spiritual sequel to Blade Runner.
Yeah,
that's why it looks like Alien because it's meant to be.
Yeah,
it's meant to be a Ridley Scott-esque movie.
Yeah,
it is like
no word. I'm trying to see it. I'm not downing the veracity.
In the garbage of the planet, there is a Blade Runner car.
Okay,
and it's meant to be
the guy who wrote Soldier
sequel.
Wrote it as a not a sequel, a sidequel
to Blade Runner.
It's meant to exist in the
same
universe,
universe that he didn't license from anyone. naughty. Directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, and I've seen that name elsewhere. I just can't remember where.
It's not Wes Anderson. It's not. They're not related.
Okay,
so that's the first thing that when I brought it up, Emma was like, "Is that related to Wes Anderson?" I think, "Oh God, no."
No. So he directed Resident Evil Apocalypse, Event Horizon, Mortal Kombat, The Three Musketeers. He's been a producer, director, writer. He's got some fucking good.
Event
some
Horizon
decent titles.
Fantastic movie.
Got some decent titles. Resident Evil Extinction, Death Race. He wrote the screenplay for Death Race. Yeah, this is the guy. Like when
That
I
wouldn't
say
have
I've
been
seen
hard
the
to
name
rate.
before, I've seen the name before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carmageddon on film.
Yeah, I love Death Race. I thought it was fucking brilliant for what it was. Anyway, back to Soldier. Kurt Russell is buff as fuck. That was fun to watch, and I enjoy the film for being a pop out action science fiction movie that is like the predecessor. Like it's a Hitman ripoff. Like Hitman is. Take away the science fiction element, and Hitman, you watch the kids grow up in this horrible, horrible training environment where they have to be cold-blooded killers.
See, I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is 10 years before Hitman.
I just went Clone Wars. It's the bad.
Yeah, and I wrote that down too.
Yeah.
I said so similar to Hitman, even reminds me a bit of training SW clones.
Yeah.
Jason Scott Lee plays the antagonist, the new super soldier who makes Kurt Russell's super soldier level obsolete.
That was pretty fucking cool on the chain fight.
But put into context, Jason Scott Lee plays Bruce Lee in Dragon like 3 or 5 years before this movie. That's a lot of muscle mass to add. Because Bruce Lee, when he played Bruce Lee, he built a body designed to replicate the really interesting musculature of Bruce Lee.
Yeah,
Bruce Lee was extremely lean and extremely well defined.
He didn't hit it, but he played it well.
Yeah, but there's no bulk, and there was no bulk to Jason Scott Lee either. The muscles were well defined and toned, but he wasn't big by any stretch.
He's got big
in
shoulders,
this movie.
Jason
He's
Scott Lee.
massive.
He's huge in that film. Yeah,
he looks like
100%.
a fucking wrestler.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was great without being too serious. And just interesting factoid, a little bit of trivia for you. The reason why the boy that plays Kurt Russell's character in the growing up scene looks so much like him is because it's actually his son in real life.
Oh,
who's now bad Captain America? Oh my god, it's all connected.
Yeah, Wyatt Russell. So that's who plays him as an 11-year-old.
Bad super soldier now.
Yeah.
So
he's really following in his dad's footstep. Can't wait till he becomes an egotistical planet.
Named Ego. Jason Isaacs. There's a bunch of names in here. James Black. He must have been super young. Am I looking at the wrong movie?
That's Jack Black's dad.
It's wrong actor. He looks anyway. It's not who I thought it was from the little picture. The big picture shows me it wasn't him. I stand by my choice. I think this was an underrated action film from the 90s that stands up pretty well. It's a science fiction film with an interesting plot. And you mentioned before tropes. I don't know how many times it had been done before, but I can certainly think of way more films that copied the idea after.
No, this is the interesting thing. So a review I read from as I was doing research around it. So a review I read, and I think it was a little bit later because this was, what year was that? That was 93,
I think. Hang on.
This was at the late 90s.
98, sorry. Soldier was 98.
I think this was like a year later in 99. There was a lady who was writing about it in like The Guardian or the New York Times or something, but she was doing like the quote that came out that stood out is like Soldier ripped off. No, not ripped off. Sorry. Soldier used every trope from every 90s action film that came before it. So any film that came after it could not have done a better use of that trope because Soldier had already done it. So it's like the Simpsons of the 90s action films. It's like, the Simpsons already done it. That was the thing that I took away from like that, and then the tropey things. Like the bad X-ray like flashes at the start when they were showing the growing up, and then they just flick to like the box that all the adults were standing in and be like, X-ray flash. I was like, come on. That's been done a million times.
It's still a 90s movie. You've got to put it in its place, right? But and at in the day, that was kind of expected. To me, it evoked things like Universal Soldier without it being too Universal Soldiery, because Universal Soldier was two dead Vietnam soldiers brought back to life to fight. But it kind of, I mean, look, there's plenty of films that it's similar to, but I thought it stood up pretty well. And I do think for a science fiction IP that was, pretty original at the time, it was underrated. And it stands up well enough today. There's no red flags societally. Really?
No, God, no. I think, and
You wouldn't
except
make
for-
the film today.
God no.
Don't get me wrong.
I actually felt like when I watched it that it was if I was watching it because I'd never watched it before, watching it today, and now knowing that it's 98, I would definitely more say, except for those few scenes of that spaceship flying, that's like 91. Like it's got so much more of a late 80s feel for me than it does a late 90s.
Yeah, I can see
I don't think
what
it's
you
a
mean.
bad thing. I don't think it's, but it's like it's an interesting thing.
Like I said, it to me, the thing it reminded me of the most, or it gave me nostalgic vibes of, was Aliens, the sequel. And Aliens when was that released? Late 80s? When was Aliens? Because Alien was 70s.
78
79.
or something like that.
Aliens was 90. Alien 3 was 92. When was Aliens? No,
Also,
86.
look, if you're sending your entire super soldier army to a trash planet, why are you dressing them in long trench coats with like Gestapo super soldier masks from Wolfenstein? Like,
yes, well,
some weird choices there too.
There were some weird choices, unquestionably.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the time, the other thing it reminded me of.
At the time, sorry, you had
oddly,
the 1996 film The Phantom with its perfect purple suit. Like, come on, catch up.
If only they got the costume director from The Phantom, but he was being used in The Phantom at the time.
He's still working on the costume to this day. Legend has it.
The other thing it weirdly reminded me of was Riddick, the original Riddick. Black.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black. Thank
Black.
you. I don't know
Great
why,
film.
but
Yeah, fantastic film.
had tension in it. Anyway, shall we move on? We want to close that chapter in our lives of underrated 90s action films.
It was a good fun rewatch. It was a good fun rewatch.
Agreed.
I will admit, and I think this needs to go on record as Tom being a dumb fuck. Almost said the C word, didn't I?
Thank you.
And I did for a while. It took Dan a few messages to be like, "No, Tom, you're wrong," because I kept, instead of saying Demolition Man, kept saying Double Team because.
That's a whole different movie.
Yeah,
a really bad one in comparison.
That's not an underrated 90s movie. That is just a bad 90s movie.
That's just a bad movie. Yeah.
Also, the porn
I always put
parody
Big Trouble
is
in
not
Little
as good
China.
either. Like, let me tell you.
Oh God.
Yep.
Pete's like, open search window.
No.
Would you like to know more? Enhance.
Enhance. Should we move on to trailer trash? We really don't have anything to say for trailer trash.
Well,
any last words, Dan? On 90s movies?
No, I think this is something I think if we start at 90s and maybe go back to 80s and then we go forward to the 2000s.
I definitely think the next step is to do what we talked about in the chat, and it's 90s trailer that never lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
Because they were so overhyped trailers. I think that's going to be a real fun
with really
Yeah.
bad voiceovers.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think
on Fox, we've got explosions.
Different kind of voiceovers, but yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think next we do trailers, and then maybe we do 80s movies and then 80s trailers, and 2000s movies, 2000 trailers. We'll time jump.
Yeah, we could do that.
We've
Don't
lived
ruin my
timey
2000s
wimey.
film. It's Blade Trinity. It's one of the greatest films of all time.
You and your
and
Thunder
let's
Sea.
let's see what the Blade Trinity
that stands up.
trailer looks like, because I'm sure that that made the movie out to be far better. Oh, you reckon? I reckon the trailer is probably better than the movie. But yeah, I think this is something we need to have a serious think on and move along in.
I think the next one we do is that we do the 90s trailers next, but then we go back and do the 80s trailers that don't live up to hype. Then we do the actual 80s film.
Just as a way of including our listeners, considering we should otherwise be having this conversation off the air. If you've got an opinion,
the creative process.
If you've got an opinion on the next era we should cover or the next decade, please leave us a comment on Instagram or Facebook. There you go. I just legitimized you guys planning our next episode for the last 10 minutes.
Or shove it up your arse.
Do we have any trailers to talk about?
Yes, I have one of the most hilarious games that I've ever heard of that's coming out. This is a real game. This is a real game.
I'm going to get my other beer, but yes, I'll wait for.
I've got a beer ready. I am prepared for this. You heard the thunk. the new game that's coming out, it's coming out on Steam, and there is a prologue so you can play through the opening mission and then you get the full thing. I Am Jesus Christ, and it is a simulator of someone's Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
I need to make an apology here because I was about to go, I'm out for this because Pete can talk about this shit on his own.
What?
Why?
Yeah, I thought that was you putting this in the
this is me.
on the
This is me.
spreadsheet.
This is 100%.
Why would
this is
you?
a real
Why would you
thing.
pick on me around JC?
Because
Him and
you're
I
usually
don't
the
go
one
way
that's
back.
incredibly inappropriate to the masses.
Yeah, Tom. I've got the shirt still somewhere.
So no, this is a real game that's coming out.
Kind of gives everyone the heebie-jeebies.
But this is a real game that's coming out. I Am Jesus Christ. It's coming out on Steam, and you get there's a prologue where you go through like the first, but you do them in a first-person perspective, and then you go through and you have to like you're trying to heal the blind person. You have to move, make their eyes move until you can like line up the irises or something. I saw this trailer for it.
No!
But someone's gone in and made this. Dead seriously.
It's going to be cancelled
Yeah, they've
within
made
minutes
it.
of
No,
hitting.
no, it can't be cancelled because they've made it seriously, and they're part of the religion. So it can't be cancelled because it's
offensive to the maker.
Well, it can't be cancelled because it's part of the
Hank the Maker. This oil bath is going to feel so good. It looks
wow.
If I'm walking down and I can fire heal beams out of my hand like a uni beam from Iron Man's glove, I think I'm all for it. I think that'd be hilarious.
I'll tell you a really good, really old video game that you kind of reminded me of that is worth checking out if you can find a simulator for it or a emulator.
Skyrim.
Populous.
Oh.
It's an old, I believe it's a bullfrog top-down. You played a god, but it was more like the religious gods of the Greek pantheon, where if you had people praying to you, you had power and you could build the world. It was like Sims before there were Sims.
Which leads me to the next trailer, which I hadn't just reminded me of, which I hadn't put on there, but they're remaking Age of Mythology.
Oh really?
Yeah. Age of Empires, Age of Mythology from the ground up. They're rebuilding.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
I'm
that's
in for
fucking
that.
cool.
Yeah. I'm in for that.
Go get
They need to rename that game I Am JC, not call it I Am Jesus Christ. Just I Am JC. Yep,
yeah, so there's a prologue coming out. So anyone who has Steam, you can. And look,
I got Steam and a good PC, so I might dive in and give you the first hand.
If you could give us a walkthrough
the blow by blow, yeah.
See, I'm just thinking now, like, because I went to a Catholic school. You can go down. I'm going off on a tangent now.
There's so many things I want to say right now with you saying that. I'm not going to say
from a
any of
gameplay
it.
perspective. If you're doing a game about someone's Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that you
like
could
how you keep saying it that way.
Yeah,
Someone's, not yours. Someone's.
They all claim it's all ours. It's not right. But think about like one of the cooler JC stories is the Days of Temptation when he's 40 days in the desert. It's him and the devil. But imagine doing that in gameplay wise as like Wii boxing. And it's you for 40 days fighting off the devil.
Yeah, I just every time anyone evokes that parable from the Bible, all I can think of is the Dark Tower sequences at the start of the Dark Tower books.
I am my father's son. I do not fire my gun. I fire the bullet. Like what is the
yeah,
Dark
but
Tower?
just not so much that, but more just the two men walking through the desert constantly. One constantly
the man
moving.
in black leads and the other man follows. Yeah,
yeah, and the core tenet behind that story is Jesus and the devil.
Yeah,
so that's why it evokes
the man in black is meant to be the devil in that whole series. Yeah. But yes, I am Jesus Christ. It's a whole game that's coming to Steam platforms. Don't know if it looks from the trailer, and I watched the trailer. I watched the trailer in full. I was flabbergasted the entire time, but I watched the whole thing. It looks like a bad VR game, so I wouldn't be surprised if Pete gets to play it on his new VR VR2.
Playing as Jesus Christ in VR. That's just.
But it's literally like there's a healing thing, and it's like you're moving the body to match the thing, and you use there's hands there, and they're like putting godly powers, and it's just like, okay, that's an interesting way of portraying that whole gameplay. Is just but it's like Skyrim hands. It's like you light up one and then you push the other, but it's all like VR-y.
I could not play a JC game in VR. That'd just be too much cognitive dissonance for me, mate. I'd be tearing a hole in the fabric of reality in my place. Look, there's a bunch of movie trailers that have actually been that have been released that I wouldn't mind talking about, but I think let's park it for this episode.
We talked about a few of them as well, because I think the only one I really saw was the new John Wick.
John Wick 5? 4.
But they originally released a teaser, which we talked about. Now they've released a full length.
Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania has an extended trailer.
Yes. Trying to think of a smart fucking name for John Wick 4, and I'm just not that quick.
The Perennium. We already covered that. It's after Parabellum.
Well, the last one was Parabellum. Si Visis Pacem Parabellum. Prepare for war. So it's got to be something other. Something. Anyway. No. Get me.
We also got a trailer. We got a. I mean, when we talk about pop culture, we got a trailer for Asterix and Obelisk. Which they've turned into a live action movie.
Really? Yeah. There's been there used to be live actions because Gerard Depardieu was Obelix.
Okay.
Back in, I've seen live action Asterix and Obelix movies. Is it a Hollywood one or is it a French one?
Asterix and Obelix, The Middle Kingdom. I don't know. I didn't know there were others.
There is others because I love Asterix and
okay.
Gerard Depardieu definitely played Obelix.
It looks funny as fuck. Playing it in mute in the background, so it's very out there. So look, there are a few movie trailers. We'll cover it next episode. Let's move on. Do you guys want to cover your fourth beer before we get into Are You Winning, Son?
The extended end of the world. Are you winning, son?
Yeah.
Yes.
You going, Thomas?
Oh, I'm going. Oh, look at it go. It's going.
Pouring it. It's out.
Hi. Delicious. All right. What am I having? I am having Akasha Brewing. All right. Spoilers.
We're drinking beers out of the same brewery, so...
Are we drinking the same beer?
No, we're not drinking the same beer.
Oh, well, you suck. I'm drinking the Chronic West Coast Double IPA. The Chronic. Speaking of Snoop Dogg, it is 8%, Peter. This is what they say on the back. Celebrate the heyday of OG West Coast flavor with this dank piney hit from Dr. Dave. I'm out. Fuck this.
Yeah, cool.
That is atrocious.
It's a middle-aged white man writing a beer label. I love Dave, but I'm going to have to send him a message.
Oh, man. That throws me back to, like, we were talking about this the other day, like, all the old batch beers that were based off, like, rap artists. Method Mandarin. Fuck off. Idiots.
I'm going to send it right now and just ask who the fuck wrote that label.
Packing a banging malt bill harmonized with fat, tropical, and citrus beats, freestyled from a profusion of our favorite hops. The Chronic may be the dopest double IPA around. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear indeed.
Dearie me.
And he's got an explicit language warning style sticker on the bottom corner.
It does. Brewed for IPA Day, delicious content.
Yeah, that's an explicit content warning rip.
Well, that's that. There we go. That is... That's pretty bad.
It does remind me of the last thing you see in Snoop Dogg in Dayshift. It's like West Side for life.
He does the Crips. He does the Crips sign because he's not Bloods. Bloods is red, Crips is blue. That's why he has the blue bandana.
Right, but he still does the West Side for life.
Yeah.
Yes, and he has the...
Anyway, let's see if the beer lives up to the label name, which probably, I hope it exceeds the label name. That is truly bad. That is... Look, it smells like a big double West Coast from the aroma. Color. It's a beautiful color. It's nice and clear. That's even after having the hazy in it without a wash beforehand. Oh, now that to me and this is a good thing. That to me tastes like their Core Mosaic IPA, and they've just gone. No, Mosaic. It sits around that like 6 mark. And we grab the big cog, turn it up to 11. Like that is a good double West Coast. That is piney and bitter and dank. Like it is. That is. It exceeds the shitty label. And yes, I'll say it, Akasha. Sorry, it's a shitty label.
It's a shitty label.
You got to get called out for shit like that. It's bad. Like I like the design of it. I think the white on gold. I think that's cool. I'm sure the little like cross, the not logo in the middle means something that I don't get because I'm not cool. But yeah, it's in terms of like a
you weren't
double.
born in the early 80s to be old enough to remember the Chronic coming out.
No. I've heard it in the Snoop Dogg songs that the youths listen to, though. I understand the reference. If I do want to make that note, it's a solid double West Coast IPA. It's big, piney, bitter. It is tasty, but it's just let down by a shitty label. Sorry, guys, it's a shitty label. I'll call you out on it. Like I think I wasn't on board with the Akasha rebrand. I didn't like the pastels. But the label is, only part of the beer. The beer still tasted the same. Like I used to love that Hopsmith green. I really love that deep Hopsmith green. When they went to that like kind of pastel-y green for the Hopsmith, I was like, that's a shitty redesign. Beer still tasted just as good. It's just as good beer. And you look past the can, you want what's on the inside of the can anyway. You're not buying for the outside. But yeah, that's just a shitty label. Sorry. Like I'll call it as it is. I'll fight you, Dave Batten. Like, come meet me on Marrickville Road. Like, we'll have fisticuffs. I think you'll win. You're a much bigger and stronger man than I am. I'm wily. You can't catch me. Like, yes. Anyway, good beer, shit label. Oh, score. In terms of the beer, it's. I rate that. It's 4.2 out of 5. You lose 0.25 for the label. Yeah, take that. Huh. How will you live with yourselves? 2.5 off for your label. Got him.
Hang on. You said 4.25 out of 5.
Yes.
Right? Not 4.75 out of 5.
4.25.
They're losing more than 0.25.
No, because I said it would have been a 4.5 had it not been for the label.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's how I got him. That's how I got him, Pete. Got him on the ropes.
Dan, which Akasha are you drinking?
It's not an Akasha. It's from Ben.
Cool.
From Ben.
I got an email from Ben today, actually.
Yeah, from Ben. It's his Aussie version of his New Zealand Hazy Pale. It's now an Aussie Pale, a Hazy Pale. And it's great. I grabbed 2 cans of each of these because I knew they were going to be good. Need to work on your label lineup, but yep, all good. The beer's fantastic.
No, it's about the same.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it's not them though. It's East Coast Canning. Oh no, they actually have their own labeler now. I don't know, but the beer's fantastic. It's a beautiful hazy pale ale. It's super green, but it's still got a whole bunch of really good Aussie hop character to it. I drank
Can I confirm? It's called Bonza.
Bonza. Yeah.
You didn't actually say that, man.
I'm sure I did. I'm sure I said it's called Bonza Hazy Pale. Anyway, doesn't matter. Fuck you, Pete. Listen more.
It's one of those rare episodes where Pete doesn't drink, so he's got all the receipts kind of thing. Like, I definitely didn't mishear that drunkenly. No, you just didn't say it, you dumb fuck.
It's almost hopped to the point where I suspiciously think it's got American hops in it, but knowing Ben, it doesn't have American hops in it. It's just a very clever use of Aussie hops. It's really great. It's got a real...
He hasn't brewed for forever, has he?
No, I had a baby. Him and Janice had a baby.
Congratulations, Ben.
So the baby's probably 1-ish now, 1.5.
So he can get to work.
Yeah. So he can get back out there again and start living the dream of not making any money in the beer world. And
I meant put the baby to work. Like,
put
it
the
can
baby
carry
to
the
work.
malt up to the
you can
mill.
shovel out the mash. Like they're at that
100%.
age, they're little enough to put in the lauter ton, so they can like scoop the grain out from the internally.
You can put them in one of those little like
easier.
tractor outfits, so they can just crawl around it and they just push all the malt out to the hole.
You can just put them in through the top and put them on the baby bouncer, and once you want them out,
getting
just push
a bit weird now.
Just push it down so it like bounces them back up through the hole. Like that's got to be the easy way to do it.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Solution.
Gotta be. Yeah, definitely. The beer's great. I love it.
Sexual assault, brain rape, baby labor. They're the three core topics of this episode.
Pixels and Pints would like to point out that none of us have children or know how they work.
Oh, fuck.
Definitely.
And would never put them to work, Tom.
Oh, no. Send them down the mines. Yeah.
It's got Victorian England here.
and they keep from like 7 years old, man. It's got
7 years, 7 months.
Gold farming in World of Warcraft is what kids are for. Anyway.
I thought they were for Minecraft.
It's too close to the truth there, Peter. I'm going to give it a 4.75 just because I have to give a quarter or 3/4 points now, and I can't give round numbers, so nothing's ever going to get a 5 from here on out.
You painted that corner you're in.
This is also your own personal choice to do this, by the way. You could still give a round number if you wanted to.
No.
He has to stick to his declaration for at least the rest of the episode.
I've planted my flag in the ground, and this is the hill I'm dying on.
We can conveniently forget that he made that comment next episode, but in the same episode that he planted the flag, definitely hold it to it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm really good at capture the flag, so I think I could take your flag.
All right. Let's move on to our final piece.
See, Peter's hating being sober right now.
No,
he is absolutely fucking hating this.
Not at all. Not at all. Just moving us forward because we're done with the beer.
That I can't drink.
And I can't drink.
Shit. That 5 o'clock wake up's getting worse and worse as the minute goes by.
Geez, it's 5 to 10. Tom?
Am I winning,
get
son?
You out of the way. Are you winning, son? I'm sure you talked about Shadow of Colossus the last 4 episodes in a fucking row, just quietly.
No, I started on the last one. I just started it. I finished it. But it takes you you have to play it like 8 times to platinum it.
Yeah.
It is a big game. It is, if you haven't played it, I really recommend it. It is this thing. I did record some footage for you. I'll send to you guys of the silence in the game, which I thought was like quite well used. Like when you're riding around through the world, and like the map isn't the biggest map you've ever been on. It's just they plant everything at the absolute corners of it, so that you have to ride through the map to get there. Because there's one of the trophies is you have to do the hard mode speed run in under 5 hours.
Right.
So you have to finish the entire game on hard mode in under 5 hours because that was one of the original PS2 speed runs. So it's like a homage to the guy who did it the first time.
That's
like
kind of cool,
which is really cool. But it's also because you get to play it on New Game Plus every time, you keep all your upgrades. So if you've unlocked the sword that one hits the points on the Colossus, I did it in like an hour and a half. It's like but playing through the first time, and you literally just play through, and every guide that because I was like, oh, how long is this going to take me? Like I'm waiting for God of War Ragnarok. I don't want to invest in like a big game that's going to take me like hours and hours and hours of gameplay to get through. So you look it up and it's like, oh yeah, it's going to take you 4 playthroughs. I'm like, okay. But then they're like, oh, 1 playthrough should take you like 8 hours. And it's just like, you just learn the game, you learn the Colossus. There's 16 Colossi you've got to defeat. Each one it's just a moving, walking puzzle. It is frustrating as fuck at times because you're climbing these giants. They're just giant creatures. And then they shake. And your little dude's holding on for dear life. And if you just have held on for that second too long, you fall off and you have to start the whole puzzle climb again. And it's just
that would be annoying.
There's some game-breaking, like controller-breaking moments in this. But also some of the cleverest boss designs I've ever had the pleasure of playing. And I can see why it's got the classic status it has. I highly recommend it. It is a very easy game to master, but a very easy game to fuck up. Like even after finishing it, I was on my like 3rd or 4th playthrough to round out the trophies, and I kept fucking up this one boss, which is actually one of my favorite Colossus to kill. It's this bird one, but like it's flying around and it goes upside down, and you got to hold on, and that's when you're like your strength of grip like goes down the fastest, and it's like I just didn't time it right, and it's just like, no, Tom, it's not the game's fault. You're the idiot who just didn't time it right. So it's like very self-reflective of that. The music's beautiful. The remake as well. So this is the PS4, like, I guess remake. So it's exact same layout as the PS2, but it's completely remastered. So it's graphics built from the ground up. So it plays beautifully as well. It doesn't look like a PS2 game they've ported like the Aspire Star Wars games that we played on PS4. It's redone graphics. And then so I finished that. That was great. It was frustrating at times, but it was also like the music is actually really like kind of in the right moment hits your soul and inspires you, but also like defeats you kind of thing. Word to the wise, the last boss is an absolute dick. He's the worst. It's like one of those ones that you spend like, because there's a challenge mode you got to get through as well. That's the hardest bit. You got to defeat this dude who's like, and they have measured him out in like terms of relation to your character, who's like, you know, meter 1.8 meters tall, and this dude's like 900 meters tall, and you got to get up him in 9 minutes.
Sheesh.
And it's just like fuck, and he's constantly moving. It's just very frustrating. But yeah, then I jumped back into because I finished that. I had like a week and a half before Ragnarok came out, and so I jumped into the first of the 3 Fenyx Rising DLCs. But it's primarily just the challenge levels from the main game. And I was just like, that was tedious. It was like, it was fun. Like it was engaging, but it was just like, they were by like halfway through it. I was like, cool. This is just repetitive now. It's just, you gotta do. Yeah, no effort. It's like 20 of the same puzzles by the end of it. It's like, this was okay. And then
why did the developers bother if they were not?
It was just like, it was like cool. Like there were slight changes for each map, but it was essentially the same thing. And by the time you got like, you did through like the main original challenges you had to do, you had enough of the new powers that you could just like cheat your way through the rest of them. So it was like, there wasn't any like real reward. But then I did start the second of the 3 DLCs, which is almost like an entirely new game set in the Eastern Realm. So I'm keen to go back after that. After Ragnarok, I did like the opening little bit. But Shadow Colossus, really good. Highly recommend. If you haven't played it, it is a PlayStation classic, and I highly recommend it. Jump into it. It's on your PS. I think I had it on PS Plus it's been sitting in my library for months and months and months on end.
Yeah, sitting in mine.
If you haven't played it and haven't got the chance to play it, jump into it. It is good, but yes, I will wait until we're all done, until we all start talking.
Yeah, cool. You're actually completely
Mjolnir
fucked up
on the table and actually
then.
like bump the camera up. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Dan?
Definitely.
Other than God of War?
No, other than God of War, no. Like some Valheim and some God of War, so deep into that Norse mythology. So I'm wearing my my Odin shirt that I bought at
that's a sick shirt too.
The Viking the Midgard Viking Center in Norway, just south of Oslo. But no, outside of God of War Ragnarok, no. And I think that is a discussion for the future.
Okay. And the only thing
I'm literally not playing anything else. Valheim and God of War. That's it.
Yeah.
That is the extent of my gaming.
Enough.
Yeah.
Dan is in his prime gaming. Yes.
I do have to say, like this is not a spoiler, and this is not anything that we haven't all 3 of us have spoken about, and we've spoken about with the others in our friends and family chat. That it's refreshing. Pete, you summed it up as it's nice to play a sequel and not start it with a pocket knife.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the better things I've ever heard Pete say.
One of the cleanest things.
One of the cleanest, definitely, but it's also one of the most on point outright things that you without having to back up, like just straight. It's the truthless truth that I think Pete's ever said.
True fact.
And things
but it's
that
great.
you
It's
would
so right.
you would things that you would expect to be still there from the 2018
The chisel
addressed in a game. Oh, everything, all the equipment still there. You walk in, still there. But it's also like they addressed it. What my comment was before you guys started playing it was they had listened to people's problems with sequels in the past and addressed that and gone, okay, well, you didn't like this in not our sequel, but other people's sequel games. You haven't liked this, so we're not going to do that. Like, okay, you love this about 2018. You know what? It's still there. From the second you get into that game, it's still there. You can still do this. You can still do that. And it's not really a spoiler because the first 2 seconds you load the game up and Kratos turns around from where he's sitting, like you still have the Leviathan axe, you still have the Blades of Chaos, like all of your tools are still there, and
the rune slots are unlocked. You don't have to fucking find the rune slot and then explain the mechanic and then find the runes. You still have to find the runes, obviously.
And the game still plays the same. It still feels the same. It still looks the same, updated. There's one or two things that I noticed that like just triggered my brain just a touch. But other than that, I think it's a dare I say a perfect sequel.
I
so
think,
far,
I'm further along than Tom.
Oh, yeah,
I know I'm further along than Dan. It's very hard to put your finger on a way of describing how far you are into the game without any spoilers whatsoever. I
think everybody, you, me, and Ed, the four of us playing it, everybody has respected and done a brilliant job.
It's actually been the best thing we've ever done in terms of spoilers. Is how everyone like, even my one the other day about like finishing the backyard fight. Even Pete had to message me privately, I know that he'd played that moment because I can see I can see his trophies on the PlayStation Network. And
it was too cryptic.
Which fucking backyard fight? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, I can't even say to you guys, this is my gear level, because level in this game is based on your gear, not XP. So I'm halfway through level 5, gear level wise, but I've actively stopped playing the storyline. I know I'm halfway through the game-ish, but I've actively stopped playing the storyline.
If I'm going to continue to be cryptic, and this might work for you, Pete, you might figure it out, Dan, and it's probably not a surprise. But
I'm not taking any risks on stuff.
I've done the long climb, Peter.
Okay. Yeah. And the thing,
I thought that was pretty good.
It is pretty good.
I've been good at this cryptic shit. I should write puzzles.
The one thing that I will say is
ascent
in terms
or descent.
Ascent.
Okay.
Ooh.
The only spoiler-free way I can say where I'm up to is I got to a point in the main storyline where I can now open everything in the game, as far as I know, apart from post-game cleanup, because you need certain, like, and same as God of War 1, you needed certain objects at certain points in the storyline to be able to go back and deal with the bramble bushes, which I love the fact, back to your point, Dan, you start the game being able to deal with those basic bramble bushes.
Yeah.
Because you've still got Blades of Chaos.
And they cleverly introduce other things. They don't treat you like an idiot that didn't play the first game and go, oh, yeah, here's the same thing again, and you're going to have to unlock that ability that you unlocked 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I will say I do wish that in the last month or so I had gone back and played God of War 2018 before I'd gone straight into this one. I needed a refresher course. And they kind of provided that. I did because I've obviously played a lot of games since then, given my lockdown.
And I only played it 18 months ago.
Yeah, given my lockdown and the amount of different games I've played since I platted God of War 2018, I didn't need much of a refresh course. I understand the basics, but I definitely
the muscle memory
is not there. I think if I could go back to, like, I would have, when I finished
I'm surprised
Shadow
it came
Colossus.
back so quick for me, man.
Me too.
Oh, it came back really quick, but I watched a couple of like good YouTube ones, which were like story replays and stuff like the day or two before. But I really wish that I'd just gone back and even reloaded my old game and fucked around with that a bit just to get back.
Although
into the
there's
swing
not
of
much.
things.
Once you hit platinum, and this is it's not a complaint, but what I did note in 2018, the original God of War, once you hit platinum, there really wasn't anything else to do. You wander around. There aren't more.
I would have just redone the Trials of Muspelheim.
I don't even know. Can you redo them once you've hit all of the gold trophy? I guess you probably could have. Anyway,
I think you could because they were some of them were time based. So I think
because I reloaded my save game and I noticed I could walk around the drained main area. I can't remember what it's called now, which is
Lakes of
Lake of Nine.
Thank you, Lakes of the Nine. Lake of the Nine. You can walk around unmolested. There was no more bad guys.
Yeah.
So it doesn't respawn bad guys, and that was the trials probably did stay. I didn't try that, but I was a little disappointed. There's no replayability. Once you hit platinum and kill everything, it's new game plus or nothing. So for me, I got to the storyline point where I unlocked the last object you need to open up all of the areas in the game, and I went all the way back to the first area and just started playing through all of the favors and killing everything I could possibly kill. And there's still some.
I know what it is. You can't get past, and it's really fucking annoying me that I can't get past it yet. I think I'm pretty close to it, but I know what it is.
There's been so many surprises in this game, and I love as you said, Tom. I love the fact that we've all been respecting each other's no spoilers because, such.
Oh man, YouTube's the worst at the moment. I can't go on YouTube at the moment.
Oh, I'm not touching YouTube. It's refreshing.
It spoiled it for me. Like as a minor thing that I knew was coming, like I'd already pieced together, but it still spoiled it for me.
You can tell me what it is offline, but I just really enjoyed the fact that the storyline has taken some surprising turns. The game mechanics changes have taken some refreshing turns.
Yep.
Every aspect of this game has been pleasantly surprising.
Have you may
You're going to end up overstepping the mark at some point here, I think.
No. That's not at all. I was about to say actually. Dan, you may be able to answer this more accurately than Pete, given you have a partner at home. Emma's noticed I've responded more in grunts and Kratos growls lately.
but yeah, I growled at Louise today, not in a bad way. She said something.
Did you yell boy at her?
I did respond. I did respond in a growl. But I mean that is just my general demeanor anyway.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say if it was ever coming out of anyone naturally, it's Dan.
Not far out of personality.
No, it was something I wasn't even doing that was God of War related. I was trying to do something the other day on. I think it was. Oh no, I was doing the most boring fucking finance report for work, and something didn't add up, and I just went. She's like, "All right, Kratos, are you okay?" Like.
But Chris Judge has certainly delivered the goods.
Man.
Judge.
The interaction. So a lot of people, I think Ed was talking about Sindri and Brock delivering the goods again, and he's right. The interaction between those two is fucking hilarious. But for me, the real standout is the dynamics between Mimir and Kratos in this one. They are fucking hilarious.
Except for when Mimir tells you you've died again and to get off your fucking back. Get off your back, lad. Shut the fuck up, you headless fuck.
Yeah.
Like
I did catch the edge of that when I went out to make a coffee or whatever it was.
It's the only thing
you're on fire. Don't worry, it'll be gone soon. Like, thanks, bro. I didn't notice the flames.
You don't think, you dumb fucking head. Smartest man alive. Fuck off. You're worse than fucking John Krasinski as Doctor Strange getting... The only way he can kill you is using his mouth. Well, I'll just take his mouth away. Good job, smartest man alive.
Yes, the cats have figured out very quickly they're not allowed to sit on my lap while I'm playing God of War because there are so many knuckle whitening moments where I'm fucking writhing. I'm physically dodging attacks.
Actually, that's the thing. No, if anyone hasn't started God of War yet and they're intending to play God of War Ragnarok and you have a pet, please be prepared for the opening sequence because that caught me off guard and it is heartbreaking.
By the way, there's been two more of those kinds of moments for me so far.
That's put a
It's
pin
an
in that.
it's an emotive fucking game, definitely.
So was the first one though. Like it got the critical acclaim it got because and the thing that made
it's
it a perfect
massive detach from the original God of War. I remember having that on the PS2.
Sorry, I meant 2018. I meant God of War.
No, I
2018.
know what you mean, but still, from the original God of War trilogy.
Yes, it's ways away. But God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok both deliver. The mechanics are brilliant. Like they are one of the best implementations ever of hack and slash.
God of War 2018 had 3 combat systems. It had Leviathan, it had Blades of Chaos, and it had Unarmed.
Yep,
and
Atreus, if you include
Atreus was support.
Yeah.
It had 3 main. You could throw that axe, and no other game beforehand has ever.
How many times you throw the axe when you first got it? Huh? How many times?
Couple. No game has ever let you release your primary weapon and complete an entire fight.
Yeah.
And then go, you know what?
That is the most.
I want my primary weapon back.
Yeah.
And grab it, and then, it's the implementation of that ability to just open that world to you, open that your choice. Do you like? Okay, so here's a question: what is your primary weapon that you guys use?
I'm a runic build, same as 2018 God of War, so both of them.
No, so but what do you use more?
Ice.
I don't lean on one or the other, Dan. I use runic, like
you
my
use
runes.
Runics. You're a douchebag that plays your timings and fucking
And my defense is shit, my vitality is shit, but my runic and my cooldown is extremely high, so that they're never on cooldown.
You're unfun.
And I almost it's a build. It's a legit build. In fact, there's armor specifically tailored for that style of play. That's the way I like to play. It's not even the most powerful. It's not like I'm min-maxing, but I did the same thing in like God of War 2018. I played the same build that I'm building now. And I got to say, so what you just said, where I was going is the reason why 2018 to me was critically acclaimed was it's got one of the best hack and slash game mechanics ever built. The world is huge, interesting, intricate. The lore is built in, but it's the storyline that stood it out. The emotive content of the storyline and the sequel Ragnarok is delivering the fucking goods again. The storyline is brilliant. Even I've noticed in Ragnarok, the side quests are main quest storyline worthy in most other games.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
The favors that I'm working on at the moment or are listening to the stories behind and the interaction between the characters on my screen.
Yeah, I just helped out the Light in the Dark.
Yeah.
I found their library.
Yeah, but, I mean, you don't have to be that cryptic. We've all been to Alfheim before. You could just say that you finished Alfheim.
No, I went back to Alfheim. I've done the second part of Alfheim.
Yeah.
And cool. Tom, I'm assuming you use the Leviathan axe the most.
Yeah. What do you take me for? A peasant?
Yep.
Aha! Yes. No, I am Leviathan axe heavy. In fact, I am, which is weird because I love the original God of War series.
I do lean a little bit to the Blades of Chaos.
But I've found myself, like compared to God of War 2018, I have found myself lacking in Blades of Chaos. I think I used them a bit. I think possibly also because they had such a big story impact when they came in 2018 that, like, especially just to see them like hanging on the wall in the cabin at the start, you don't get to use them for so long. I was just like,
speaking of hanging on the wall,
you've broken your light.
Above my
okay.
Sits above my desk that Pete bought me many years ago for
Christmas, I
for
think,
Christmas.
or a birthday
Yeah,
or something.
That sits up there for like every podcast for the last since we've been doing this.
You probably can't tell from video, but that's solid metal and
it's a United Cutlery solid metal with a proper
fucking waste of
Things
time.
I'm not allowed.
like that's a proper fucking metal chain hanging off it.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to swing that and make contact with somebody.
Oh no, it's my zombie apocalypse weapon, man.
I don't know. This replica hammer's solid enough. Like
run down to the grindstone, Dan, on the way out the door to sharpen
100%.
her up.
Yeah. So
I am so looking forward to having a.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
I'm so looking forward to having a spoiler-rific conversation with you guys once we've all reached.
I think we should set a date
same
for
end.
it that is enough in advance.
No, well,
should
2 episodes
should
be
we
like 4
do
weeks, 8 weeks.
a Christmas episode in person?
Yes.
I think we should, but I don't think we should do God of War then. I think we should wait until like mid to late Jan. We'll obviously have finished it then, but I want to give
fair enough.
I think fans who haven't got into it, like I've got a few mates who listen to this who, because of how much we've talked about Ragnarok, have just picked up 2018.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
So
I'm pretty fucking proud of our podcast for having that. Like to know that as a result of our shit talking, someone's going to experience that game from scratch. That makes me really fucking happy.
Excellent.
Oh fuck! How many? Oh, shit! Did I just give away any massive spoilers for 20? Not really.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. No,
but you can't talk about Ragnarok without talking about it.
No, I think there are paths at that point anyway. Sorry, Jack. It's just Jack. Poor Jack. I ruined his days so many times. He's like, I was just about to play that game. You guys fucking spoiled it. Like, Jack, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm a dick. I'm such a dick. But also, Jack, no, this is a personal attack now. Jack, you're about 4 years behind all these games, so it's your own fault. There we go. I said it. But I think, no, definitely with Ragnarok,
we'll talk about it off.
Let's do that. Let's do that. That could be like the first episode in the new year. How fancy.
That's not going to be late January. But okay.
Mid-January.
We'll figure it out. We can plan logistics without being on the recording.
I spin the hammer and we do shit.
We're pulling back the kimono. I think it's brilliant.
Like flashing of the kilt.
Opening the kimono is the saying. I can't wait to have a conversation with you both. Once I know that you're far enough through the storyline, that we can have an open conversation about it, because I'm excited to hear your thoughts on so many things that we can't talk about yet. Tom Mjolnir on podcast.
That's actually a cryptic
after
spoiler.
this episode. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I think that's
You'll know it when you see it.
I think that's our episode.
Who gave me this? Who let me spend money on this? This is the greatest thing ever.
I think that would be Emma.
Okay.
No. Words.
No. That was my own money.
I'm going to bed. Good night.
Thank you very much for listening. And Dan, you're going to stick around for fucking 30 seconds this episode.
Yeah, no, we're done. Man. Yes.
Thank you very much for listening,
everyone.
That was like you were going to like rub your nipples there, Tom.
We say goodbye to our listeners, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for letting me have this hammer to play with. It's really nice. Really like it.
Thanks for listening.